Yeah, and then, yeah, bruv. Yeah, bruv. In it. Let me tell you about this one time. I went through a porthole and snuck into the North Pole and got picked up in a Hyperborean DeLorean. They said they knew I was a Webster Merriam historian, master the numerical Gregorian, the hysterical mystic, no more than a Pythagorean, conspiracy theory Therium in the etheric fear realm. I thought they were gonna take me to the crematorium in their Hyperborean DeLorean. Tested me on my Sumerian, Shakespearean, knew I was a numerical vegetarian, Aquarian, that I knew about the Tartarians, barbarians, Mars radium, aliens, salt of the earth, solution, Selenian. Spent the night in a Hyperborean chamber.
Welcome back, everybody.
Bruv, who hired the painter? Hyperborean memoriam, auditorium, all cause I got picked up in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Introducing all love. Jack Bruff. Yeah. Invisible diamond minerals, crystalline and swimming pools, interdimensional realms of scrapping Catherine, Bahamas, Azores, Atlantis shores, mountains, temples, marble floors, seafloors, treasure and cities lost. Yeah, bruv, in it. Oh, sphinxes, pyramids and minotaurs, fruit grown in grove, luxuriant. In it. Inhabitants intelligent, closest seen to perfection. The whole experience, heaven to them, polar aurora, horizon beyond them. Flattened sky, lake of fire, core and flora, but bright comets, tornadoes, turbulence, not prohibition, more. Not forbidden, thought expansive, places massive. In it, yeah, bruv. In it, oh.
Welcome back, everybody. Could I get a thumbs up just so you guys can hear me okay?
Yeah. Telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean.
What's up, Vital? Welcome. We're about to get started. Hey, Grit. Thank you, JM. Welcome back, ballers, to another episode of Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Cody. As I always say, the best night of the week. I apologize to everybody for the late start. That was my fault. We were just about to hit the live button and my whole microphone snapped in half. So I was able to makeshift something up. So thank you guys for your patience. Really appreciate it. Rambo, good to see you, my friend. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, thank you. I can hear you okay, but I couldn't hear the music. I don't know if everybody else could, but I couldn't hear the music. But I hear you okay, fine now.
Okay. Did you hear it at all or not?
No, I didn't hear it. I heard the beginning and then it just stopped. I didn't hear it at all the rest of the way.
Huh. Okay.
I hope everybody else did. I couldn't. I can hear you now.
I appreciate the heads up on that. Cody, can you hear me out there?
Yeah, I can hear you. But I could hear the music, so it's weird.
Okay. Yeah, the enthused said that they could hear the music as well. But I do appreciate you letting me know, Rambo, because we always want to make sure that things are in order when we can look out for it. So, yeah. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Happy 322 Day, everybody. The 322nd day of the year. For those that don't know, the number is Skull and Bones. And sure enough, shout out to you, Cody, for pointing out to me that tonight is the 322nd home game, at least regular season for the Golden Knights in the NHL. So we'll see what happens with them tonight. But for those that don't know me, I go by AJ, 3 L's in Ball, and Balll Don't Lie. You guys can find any of my publications, so to speak, either by emailing me at wordplaybook@gmail.com, 3 O's in book, or you guys can also find that content on my Patreon page, patreon.com/onthemoneyball. Only 2 L's in ball with that one. But Rambo, passing off to you, my friend. If you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself to those who might not be familiar with you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you again for putting this all together. Well, I can be found at patreon.com/thetruthcodes and at instagram.com/thetruthcodes. Oh yeah, and this is one tier, $5 a month. That's all. It's just the only tier called Codebreaker. You have access to the Codebreaker community server on Discord, where you can see other brilliant, great contributions and decodes from the community on that Codebreaker server for $5 a month.
$5 per month, you guys, not per day, not per week, per month. So best $5 you'll ever spend per month, less than a cup of coffee these days. If you guys haven't checked out Rambo's page, I strongly encourage that you do. Give him a shot. $5. See what happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Cody.
Yeah, thanks again for you, AJ, and Rambo for being here with us tonight, and thanks to everyone in the chat. Also, you guys can find me at Decoding with Cody on YouTube. We're not streaming there tonight because I'm low on streaming hours, but if you guys want to find me, normally we stream over there, Decoding with Cody on YouTube. I have 15.3, been stuck at that. That's the 17th try, and I'm going to talk a lot about the 17 tonight. That's interesting. But yeah, buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Cody is the donation link if you guys are inclined to do that. So look forward to getting into it.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Cody. I was already getting really excited with all the stuff we were talking about backstage. So before we do that, though, one big announcement, you guys. I'm drafting up a quick little banner here, so you guys will see the announcement on the ticker. But starting next Tuesday, November 25th, we are going to begin streaming 1 hour earlier. Okay, so wherever you guys are at, whatever time you've been normally used to watching the show, especially trying to catch the live stream, we will begin starting an hour earlier starting next week. So I'm going to list the different times based off of where you're at. Okay. So that would be 7 p.m. Pacific. Actually, no, it starts at 7 p.m. Pacific now. We're moving that back to 6, which means it'll be 8 p.m. Central and 9 p.m. Eastern. So where do you guys want to start? I know there's a ton to discuss, as there always is. But yeah, I'll let you guys kind of take the wheel on this one. What are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, I think it depends on what you guys. I know we can talk about the 322 stuff, or we can Rambo. I know already. Do you have like a clip prepared, Rambo, or you just have like a presentation?
It's not a clip, but it's I guess I'd say the notes I have already on a larger decode has to do with the 6-7 craze and where it might have started and what it might mean, along with other connections with things we've talked about, like last week with the game in the Olympic Stadium, the Hitler Olympic Stadium, between the Colts and the Falcons, and some of the themes on that. We talked about the crossroads and Robert Johnson making the deal with the devil and that theme. So yeah, I have a bunch of things that connect to all of that. But if you want to talk about the 322 stuff, because it's kind of long, and you definitely have things to add to that, Cody. So I don't know, maybe do the shorter. I don't know, maybe do this first, because there'll be a lot to add to that. Yeah,
we can go. AJ, you have those slides already kind of prepared, right? Maybe we can touch on the 322. I can kind of recap what I talked about yesterday and today and how that connects, and then I before Rambo gets into his, I also want to show Rambo the underdog thing that I think everyone will appreciate.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty out there too that would love to hear Rambo's take, especially on the whole 6-7 stuff. I know he was a little bit behind the ball on it, but there's a lot of different takes I've heard from a lot of different people about their thoughts of it. Very bizarre trend. So I would love to make sure we have a little time for that. But yeah, I mean, as far as slides I have prepared for the 322 stuff, I mean, all I really have that I could readily show you guys is what I had posted on the Patreon earlier today. The game hasn't ended yet, so as we know in the world of sports betting, no guarantees. But But I mean, one that did already hit. Check this out. Don't forget that Tampa Bay, right? Their football team's the Buccaneers, who has that Skull and Bones logo, and sure enough, the Lightning came away with the win today. Mainly because of the 55s and the 65s, not necessarily the 3-2-2, but sometimes it is that simple. The home team playing right across the bay from where the Buccaneers play on 3-2-2 date, things like that. So, but other than that, yeah, Cody, I mean, I don't know if you want to just maybe show your screen with anything else you wanted to touch on, and yeah, I'm really excited to hear you share with Rambo the latest with the green and yellow upsets in WWE.
Yeah, so there's of course last night. I'll share my screen real fast here. A lot of people watched my stream last night, so they've seen. But just to touch on the 3-2-2s real fast before we get into the underdog thing. John Cena, he had his last Raw last night, his last Monday Night Raw, which is the weekly episodic television show. And so the big thing about this that I tied together was that John Cena, he had won his last title, his 17th title in Las Vegas. And then last night, as he's in his final Raw, Las Vegas is on Monday Night Football playing the Cowboys. And I had said in my video, the Cowboys are probably going to win. I thought 31-13 was a very interesting score that could happen. And it was pretty close to that.
You were really close.
I mean, for how hard it is to pick scores, I was within, if you could pick a margin, if I could have picked a margin between scores, but they didn't even let me pick a score on the betting sites for 33-16. But and I just wanted to recap this real fast because remember, John Cena won his 17th world title in Vegas, making him the most he has the most titles ever in his history, right? Or in history. And the final score of the game was 33-16. So that's a differential of 17. Right? So I was all over the fours because I was thinking the game would end with a score of 44 points to go with how the Cowboys have had so many games finish 44 points this year. I mean, just go look it up and go watch my video yesterday. I showed how at least 60-70% of their games have some sort of connection to the 44. Yesterday was a day leaving 44 days in the year. Well, I said Dak Prescott would throw for 4 touchdowns 44 days after the last time he threw for 4 touchdowns, and that was easy. He had that by midway through the third quarter. And I said that their tight end for the Cowboys would get a touchdown catch because he was 2 months old, and that was also easy. He got the second touchdown of Dak's 4. I also had CeeDee Lamb for a touchdown because CeeDee Lamb got his 40th touchdown of his career, and the Cowboys have had multiple times this year where the games have finished with a score of 40, and 40 is just another version of 4, right? So, but before we get to more of the 17s, think about the final score. It was 33-16. That's 49 points. 49 is so this series between these two teams was 7-6 coming into this. So with the Cowboys winning last night, the series became 7-7. And the Cowboys scored 49 points in this when they tied the series 7-7. Well, what's 49? It's 7 times 7. Now, this is where it gets interesting because this actually connects to the 44. Why? Because 7 is the 4th prime. So you see how perfect that is? Even this score gets you back to the 44 because 49 breaks down to 7-7. 7 breaks down to 4-4. How amazing is that? But the final score is more coded with the 17 because there's 17 points in between the teams. 17-point win. John Cena won his 17th title in Vegas. He had 16 when he came into Vegas, right? And then he got 17. So this 16 represents his 16 titles, and then he got 17. Well, what's even more miraculous is the final score, if you look at it from the Vegas side, it was 16-33, right? Well, that's the 17th star number. So this 17 is going to be the big number. And why is this going to be big? Well, who's playing on Thursday Night Football, guys? The next football game that's happening. Well, it's the most famous number 17 in the NFL right now, Josh Allen. So this number is going to continue to be big as we head towards John Cena's last match. And you notice it's the 17th star. That's even more important because what's the team that won last night? The team with the star. Like how amazing is this? Not only was it this is the most perfect score you could ever have to go for a 17 ritual. It's the 17 star and it's a 17-point differential. And it's the star, like the Cowboys, the star. Mm-hmm. Like it's just amazing, really. And don't forget, America was founding in the 1700s. So the 17th star, the American. So there's that too. And John Cena is going to be 1766 weeks on Pearl Harbor Day this year, or 1766 days. But yeah, so there's that. And then that led me to today where you got Vegas on their 3-2-2 win at home. They're in their 3-2-2 home game. And so Madison Square Garden last night was 22,300 days from its breaking ground. And John Cena's full name equals that same gematria. John Felix Anthony Cena 223. And that was exactly how many days the stadium was open yesterday. 22300 days. And it was 22 weeks and 3 days, or can't remember if it was 22 weeks and 3 days before the Super Bowl, and it was 2 months and 23 days before Cena's birthday or something like that. It was all connected to this number. Of course, skull and crossbones also equals 223. And then, of course, this happened just a day after UFC 322 in Madison Square Garden. So this last few days has been so perfectly coded in so many different ways. And now today you got Vegas playing their 3-2-2 home game. So it's just continuing. And but now I want to get to what happened last night at Cena's last Raw, which was an underdog story. And for those of you watching the stream right now, you know that Rambo has been talking about the green and yellow and the underdog, right? And for weeks now, they've been teasing this. And I didn't even think about this until just last night after this happened. I was like, wait, they've actually been teasing this now, because this is actually the third match that Maxine Dupree had against Becky Lynch. So just to explain this real fast, Becky Lynch is right here, the red-haired Irish. There was a lot of Irish stuff going on last night. I'm not sure what that really is pointing to, but Irish was super prevalent. So maybe we can talk about that later. But Becky Lynch is Irish. And John Cena's final match on Raw featured 3 other Irishmen. So something really, it has to connect with Boston because he's from Boston. But notice Becky Lynch, the Irish woman, she calls herself the Man, and she was the Intercontinental Champion of the women's division. So John Cena is the Intercontinental Champion of the men's. Becky Lynch was the Intercontinental Champion of the women. Well, there's been 2 matches between these two already. And this woman right here, Maxine Dupree, the one in the green with the stars, and of course this is Dallas, right? As soon as I saw that she won with the stars, I knew it was like, okay, Dallas is a lock for sure. And so she actually was never a wrestler. She was a cheerleader for a sports team. I can't remember what sports team, but she had no wrestling experience. But in the last couple of years, she's been training. They've been building her up and saying that she's never going to get there. She's just a cheerleader, but she's been working her butt off apparently, and she's been getting really good and better at wrestling, right? And so it was the ultimate underdog story for her to beat Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch, Sports Center, she walks around saying that everyone calls me the greatest women wrestler of all time, Becky Lynch. And so what happens last night? Well, Maxine Dupree, and look at this article from one of the big wrestling. Maxine Dupree wins the women's Intercontinental title on Raw, defeating Becky Lynch. And I'll show you where the yellow comes in, because there is yellow on her uniform, but it's less prevalent. But you can see the gold also on the stars. So it's green and gold, and then she has a yellow print on the inside on her suspenders. But think about it. How perfect is this, considering what Rambo has been saying? And look at what they start the article by saying. Underdog Maxine Dupree becomes brand new Intercontinental Champion. and they've been calling her this for a while now. And just last night, it all culminated in Madison Square Garden on Cena's last Raw. This was like, I knew this was going to come, but it came a little bit faster than I thought. But yeah, I'm not surprised, and I'm going to try to get a picture of where you can see more of the yellow, because in this pictures you can't see it. It's on her straps behind her. It's really hard to see. There's really, okay, here we go. Of course, it's a blurry. I mean, you would be able to see it there, but it's blurry. You guys see this?
I mean, she's blonde too, right? So
Yeah,
like,
but
there's kind of that blonde hair to go with the green outfit, and Rambo's touched on that kind of blonde hair symbolism with these seems kind.
But this is the point.
Kind of thing.
The point is, what I'm saying is with this though is that she's had 3 matches with Becky Lynch up to this point. The only one is which she won the title from her is this one, and it's the one where she's wearing green. The other matches she was not wearing green. She was wearing red. Or the other, I think the first one she was wearing a different color, and then the second one she was wearing red, and then it just happened to be on this one where she's wearing green with the yellow trim. Again, it's hard to see. If you pull up the right pictures and find the video of the match, you will be able to see the inside of her suspenders is clearly green. It's a light green. The stars, I believe, have a gold signature, a gold outline in them, and of course she won gold, right? The green woman won the gold, so. It's even better. It's even better if you think about it that way. The green and gold, the green and yellow, and but I mean, how about that? I mean, we've been talking about this, and this happens in wrestling. And like I said, she has never wore this green outfit before, ever, that I've seen. So, and then Becky Lynch, like I said, every time she comes out, she hypes herself up as being the best of all time. And you can see here, it's like a mocking thing, like you're never going to beat me, right? So it's, and think about this too. I mean, the Irish are all about green. Their main color is green, and they always chase gold, right? So you have that Becky Lynch being an Irish person, right? So, and also just to show what happened with Cena last night, he was wearing green in Boston last week, right? And he won actually, that's interesting. I didn't think about this until now, but Cena last week, not last night, this says November 17th, but the week before, he won so he became, John Cena had won every other championship, the male championship in wrestling, except the Intercontinental Championship, right? He was a 17-time world champion, but the Intercontinental Championship he had never won. Well, last week in Boston, essentially his hometown, he beat Dominic Mysterio to win the title. He was wearing green attire with yellow. There's yellow on this attire too. I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Maybe not, or maybe on his hat. I don't know, but it is clearly green, and he won the gold. So I just think that's also super interesting. But anyway, last night, he took on the Judgment Day. So you can see here. Now this is a reference to Armageddon. I'm going to do a whole. I'm probably not going to talk. I don't have anything built for this yet, but this was so think about it. Cena's last Raw, like war. So they used to call Monday Night Raw, they used to call it Monday Raw is War. They used to actually call it that. But Raw is the reverse of war. So John Cena got in a war last night with the Judgment Day. Okay, well, if you think about the Bible, the last battle, the final battle is Armageddon, where the last judgment happens, right? And
Jake Paul's next fight, by the way, just throwing it out there with the MMA, his next fight is December 19th, and they're calling that Judgment Day too.
Well, yeah, and WWE had a show called Judgment Day many years ago, but they also had a show called Armageddon. And eventually I will show you guys how perfectly last night's Raw lined up with the last Armageddon. And ding, 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 it was connected with a Martian year, guys. I've been telling you to look at Martian years. They're definitely using them. This Raw from last night was a perfect Martian year span from the last WWE airing of a Judgment Day. And guess who was in the Judgment Day? That last one in 2008, all the way back in 2008 was the last, not Judgment Day, last Armageddon. It was called WWE Armageddon. And John Cena actually won in that match against Jericho, who on the cover of that pay-per-view, he's pushing a red button like a nuclear. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And that it actually lined up perfectly. I'll just tell it to you now, but I'm going to build like a whole video for it. But it was exactly 9 Martian years. Yesterday was this match with the Judgment Day. 9 Martian years exactly after the last WWE Armageddon, which was the 9th Armageddon and the last Armageddon show they ever had. How crazy is that? The last and 9th one, exactly 9 Martian years later, this happens. And they're fighting the Judgment Day, right? And this is where it goes back to the Irish thing again. The two guys, so this move that they're doing to them, they call it the 10 beats of the Baldron. And the guy who originally does this move is the guy in the middle named Sheamus, with the red hair. And they call him the Celtic Warrior. And he beat John Cena for his first world title on December 13, 2009, which miraculously will be exactly 16 years before John Cena retires in a month. So Sheamus has had a storied history with Cena. But last night he was teaming with Cena to take on the Judgment Day. Well, the guy on the left there is Rey Mysterio, the most famous luchador of all time. But the big point is the two guys that they're hitting here on the left are both Irish. This guy right here, his name is JD McDonough, and this guy ties to JD Vance. It's really crazy. This character is like literally tied to JD Vance. His name is JD, like JD Vance, but he's Irish. And this guy in the middle is Finn Balor, who's also Irish. So you have 3 Irishmen here.
JD, kind of like Judgment Day too. I don't know if that's where you were going with that, but
well, the name of their group is the Judgment Day.
Oh, okay.
That's the name of the group, and they've been around since 2022. But there's been different members, but these two guys have been stables in these 2 Irishmen. But Sheamus, he's Irish. So you got 3 Irishmen there, and you have 2 Mexicans. And the guys on the left, or on the right, I mean, that's father and son, right? This is Rey Mysterio. This is his son. So there's a whole father-son thing. Shout out to Widow's Son from Sean from Widow's Son. He talks about the father-son code. Well, this father-son code actually ended up big because guess what happened after this match? The Judgment Day got out and got in the face of Andrew Scholes. Andrew Scholes, the comedian. And this is not the first time this has happened. Andrew Scholes has been at a WWE event and gotten in the face of somebody. And it's not the first time he's been connected to the father-son thing. I have to confirm this with a Widow's Son, but he's been following that. And it just got more confirmed last night. But Cam Scattaboo, I told you yesterday was all about the number 44 because it had 44 days left in the year. Well, Cam Scattaboo, who just had a gruesome injury, he was at the event. And Dominic Mysterio got in the face. Let me see if I can just find the actual you can see. Yeah, right here. And like he's wearing a Rangers, and the Rangers are playing in Vegas tonight. Like it's just all so crazy how they do this stuff. Like, and here's the Judgment Day, and they're in face to face with the New York Yankees. There's New York Yankees players here. There's New York Giants players, and there's all these sports athletes are there. I mean, that's why you have to follow wrestling with the sports, because the wrestling is actually giving you clues what's going to happen in the sports games and vice versa. But yeah, here's Dominic Mysterio getting in the face of Cam Scattaboo. Now, what's his number? 44. And Andrew Scholes, again, this is not the first time he's been involved in this type of thing, and happened earlier this year. So it's just crazy. And here's Cam Scattaboo. I didn't even see anything on his leg. I mean, they didn't give a good look at his leg, but didn't he just have a gruesome leg injury? And he got up just fine. Like it seemed like he's not even hurt.
Yeah, it was pretty gruesome.
It was gruesome, but like he didn't even act like he was injured. The way he got up and got in his face, like they didn't show his leg or anything. But
I wonder if the number 73 has anything to do with it.
Well, 73, I was thinking about that a bit because 73 is the 21st prime, but 73 is also a big number for the Super Bowl this year. I was thinking about that.
Doesn't war equal 21?
Does it? Yeah, I think so, actually.
So during Raw, yeah,
kind
of the war we're talking about. It's wearing 73, the 21st prime.
Yeah, so
What are your thoughts on this, Rambo? I know that you're more of a wrestling guy, at least than I am.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't follow wrestling. I don't know why you thought I was a wrestling guy. No.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you at least.
Rambo has just been doing more decodes about wrestling lately because I've been talking to him about it. But I think
that's fair, yeah.
No, yeah, but I've talked about Hulk Hogan, and then Hulk Hogan led to the symbolism, and so especially that, which I found out from you. I didn't know anything about the predictive program of Hulk Hogan and the mega powers and his 9/11 prediction. I actually found out from you, AJ.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest 9/11 prediction. They even talk about terrorist attacks back in 1989. So then that's when I went and looked at that event, and I saw that the fight that came after Hulk Hogan, and I realized what the archetype of Hulk Hogan is. It's the Hercules archetype. And then I looked at it, and then I saw the symbolism in the fight. I saw how Miss Elizabeth, she was Persephone, how they took her through the tunnel, and how she died, and how he was crying because Persephone's mother, Demeter, is the weeping goddess who weeps when Persephone is taken to the underworld by Hades. And Hulk Hogan was imitating Persephone. And that wasn't even the last fight of the night. Usually the title fight is the last fight of the night. The last fight of the night was Hercules. We just went along with, and he was fighting $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. So I had to look into that based on Hulk Hogan's death. And the symbolism there with the DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, that comes from plutocracy. Pluto is a god of wealth. And they announced his hometown, which is really his summer home, is in Netherlands and Teals. What's Netherlands? Underworld. So that's how I got onto wrestling, specifically with Hulk Hogan and all the symbolism there. But I can talk about, you're saying it's a heavy Irish theme. I'm a football soccer guy. There's a huge Irish theme going on, like in soccer. There's definitely an Irish theme going on, which I thought it was going to end in 2024 because 24, the Jupiter glyph looks like the number 24. And you have the luck of the Irish thing and the archetype of the leprechaun and luck and the 4-leaf clover. So I thought when 24 was over, the whole Irish theme would end. There's some big Irish. I didn't know this was going on in wrestling. Very big Irish event in soccer. Huge.
Well, what do you think about this underdog thing, Rambo? Isn't it crazy? I mean,
yeah, and so underdog is really in the air. This tells me that the underdog theme is in the air, and there's so much to decode. Hopefully, the videos are a very long way to decode because they're so painstaking. I guess I have to do more written decodes. There's so much adding up, but I still have more to do on the underdog, the big underdog story this year. It's all leading to a big underdog, a huge one. That's in the New York mayoral election in 2024, where Zohran Mamdani defeated New York State political royalty, Cuomo. Nobody heard of Mamdani. He's a Muslim. He's critical of Israel. In fact, at the first mayoral primary for Democrats, all they talked about was Israel. And they all were like, as soon as I'm mayor, I'm going to Israel. They all said that. And then he was the only one who said, I'm the mayor of New York. Why would I go to Israel type thing? And you would think that you're going up against New York royalty Cuomo and you're critical of Israel. You shouldn't have a chance. And he's the big underdog story. And I think there's more underdogs in the air. And the 2026 World Cup is coming up. I think there'll be a huge underdog there. Everything's pointing to it. So there've been pretty major underdog victories in sports, upsets, but I think this is pointing to a huge one. I think there's going to be a huge one in sports. But the big underdog story so far is Mamdani winning the New York mayoralty race. And I have a whole bunch of stuff on that. Like there's so much on that. The underdog is the cartoon character Underdog, which they also did a movie about him. He had the U on his chest. This all started from the U Street, the attorney throwing the Subway sandwich on U Street. And Subway is the green and yellow. That's actually where this all started.
Well, Rambo, I was going to say too, with this Maxine Dupree, she got her start training in WWE under this wrestler named Chad Gable. And his famous phrase was, "Thank you." He used to always emphasize the "you." He was he would put up two like peace signs and say "thank you," like emphasizing the "you," right? And use the 21st letter too, right? Going with the 73 connection.
Well, there you go. Yep.
So, Yeah, this is him doing like the two hands with the thank you. Like he would always do it like really, and he's out injured right now. But Maxime Dupree pretty much was part of his group and learned from him. Like and he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. Like he's been doing it his whole life. He's one of the best. Maxime Dupree just got into it, so he kind of helped her. So that connects too. I mean, how perfect it is that was his catchphrase is with the U.
Shout out King Cornelius just for pointing out with Scatabo. The New York Giants, right? Same colors as the Rangers. They just lost to the Packers on Sunday with that green and yellow. So, I mean, I think the Packers were favorited, but just for the sake of showing how the colors kind of overlap with what you were pointing out, Codes.
Yeah. So, the Green Bay Packers these were clearly the two biggest upset games this season.
Yep.
Were both involved the Packers.
Yep.
Now,
I was just going to say at this point, we've talked politics, NFL, college football, European soccer. Now Cody's bringing this example with wrestling. I'm just saying, like, now we got a whole laundry list of these underdog examples in all different worlds.
Yeah, it's also international soccer. England, in its entire history of soccer, had never, ever lost to an African team. Never. And it happened for the first time this year on June 10th, when Senegal beat them comfortably 3-1 in England, wearing green and yellow. So that was international soccer. It's happened. It's been a major thing. And the U. So with Mamdani, the big U thing is his citizenship. He was born in Uganda, and he's also a citizen of the United States. So of course, all his opponents. That's just like the most raw racist campaign you've ever seen in 2025. That sounds like stuff that happened like in the 60s or something. Like, no, this is it. Just and of course they make all these 9/11 references because he's a Muslim, and that's all coded. But he's from Uganda, which is a big part of it. And I have a whole decode on that. I wasn't looking for it, but somehow we end up with Indianapolis ties there. So that's on that end, the underdog in the U, but that's the big underdog story of the year so far is Mamdani in the New York mayoral race. No one's heard of him, and even if you did hear of him, you're like, no, he can't. There's no way he can win.
And think about that too. Maxine did this in New York, where Mamdani had just won his thing. So yeah, it's perfect. It ties to him, of course.
Also the World Cup final will be in the New York metropolitan area, not in New York. The New York Giants and Jets play in New Jersey across the river, but it's the New York metropolitan area. It's right across the river. The opening game and the final will be played there. So that's why I think this underdog theme will be affected there. I mean, I can talk about the Irish theme as well in soccer, this huge one, which kind of ties into Notre Dame because Notre Dame is green and yellow. They got upset. They've been upset. They were upset by the U, right? Miami. And they're green and yellow, and they're known for Rudy. Rudy's this big underdog who had no talent, no scholarship. He was too short, too small. Somehow he actually played a game for Notre Dame. Rudy's actually the name of arguably the most famous New York City mayor because he was the mayor during 9/11, Rudy Giuliani. So there's an underdog Notre Dame connection there just with the name Rudy.
Oh my God. So I'm sorry, Rambo, please finish your main point, but something just clicked, something that happened this week with regards to the U. I don't want to forget about it.
Yeah, well, so I'm just tying in Irish, green and yellow, Notre Dame, underdog, Rudy, and soccer. You can make this point, but I'll just explain the big Irish theme because Cody, this is huge Irish theme because I asked the same question watching soccer, saying, what is with this Irish theme? There's a huge Irish theme, and I'll tell you what that is. You can make this point.
Yeah, so just staying on the U theme really quick, Cody, if you wouldn't mind, just going to Google and typing in John Beam death. He was a former head football coach, and he was an athletic director at Laney College who was featured in the Netflix series Last Chance U. Last Chance U. Mm-hmm. As in the letter U, right? University. I'm still it just hit my brain like that. This news broke it broke this week. And I was just noticing the colors that they show him in. It's green. Is it green and white like the Jets, or is it green and yellow? Because
Well, he died in Oakland. They have the green and yellow, the A's.
well, yeah. So just look up like Laney College.
Laney College.
Yeah, I believe that's where. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I mean that there is that kind of subtle hint. You know what this colors look like is South Florida. South Florida, who upset Miami U before Miami U upset Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, I wanted to quickly throw this in there with everything that we're on topic with the U and the color symbolism. Now you have this big death that happened for Last Chance U on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean just the fact he died in Oakland too, you have that connection with the green and yellow, you know? So
yeah, home of the A's, who are now leaving to go to Vegas.
Oh yeah, that's right. Interesting.
But yeah,
all this stuff going on with Vegas.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, Rambo. I didn't want to get you too off topic.
No, okay,
I thought that was good to plug in.
Yeah. So the big story in soccer in the world of right now they are playing World Cup qualifiers, and the qualifiers, just to be clear, the World Cup will be held primarily in the United States in 2026. Some games will be held in Mexico, some in Canada, but primarily in the United States. Opening game, MetLife Stadium, home of the New York Giants, New York Jets, and the final will be held here. And just to give an indication for those who might not be into soccer of the importance of the World Cup, if you look at the Economist magazine, every year the Economist has the year ahead. For 2026, they have the world as a soccer ball and the world being kicked. That just gives you...
I wanted to shout out someone in the chat who did mention that cover. The World Ahead 2026. I didn't notice. I didn't think it looked like a soccer ball, but now that
it is a soccer ball.
They're kicking it. Yeah, see,
it's being kicked by a soccer.
Oh, I didn't see that little guy in the corner there. My bad.
Yeah, so this is just to emphasize the importance of the World Cup. Okay, so the call of and they, just like they've done with many sports, they've expanded the World Cup. They're expanding everything. They expand playoffs in baseball. They're expanding playoffs in college football. They're adding another game to the NFL. They're doing it everywhere. Everything's being expanded. So the World Cup is now it's huge now. It's watered down, let's be honest, because you let more teams in. That's more teams that usually wouldn't be there. Ireland is not a particularly good soccer team at the moment, football. They've had their time in the past, not so much now. And they're in a group with two teams who are clearly better than they are. Number one is Portugal. And this player here dressed in all red. Portugal wears all red. Is that a clue for Portugal? I don't know. But there's a player there who's kicking the ball dressed in all red. Not too many national teams wear all red. There are some club teams that do. Liverpool, Bayern Munich. But as far as World Cup goes, a team in all red that could win it would be Portugal. We're good enough. Well, Ireland are in the same group as Portugal. They're in the same group as Hungary. Hungary is better than Ireland as well. Ireland are not expected to make the World Cup. You need to win your group. You qualify for the World Cup. If you finish second, you'll go to a playoff. Ireland aren't expected to even finish. So Ireland had 2 games left. They had to play Portugal at home and then Hungary on the road in Hungary. They have to win both games just to make the playoffs. Otherwise, they're dead. And these are 2 teams who are better than they are, clearly better than they are, heavily favored. They beat Portugal at home, which was an amazing win. But now they had to go to Hungary on the road and beat another team that's better than them, that expected to win. They didn't just win. So they won on what is the soccer equivalent of a Hail Mary, where so Ireland had to win. It was 2-2. 2-2 is good for Hungary. They'll at least make the playoffs to qualify for the World Cup. They'll finish second, but they'll make the playoffs. They're still alive. Ireland has to win both against 2 teams that are superior to them on the road. It's 2-2. It's at the death. It's injury time. So this is a good comparison to American football. So when you have a Hail Mary, everybody's in the end zone. Everybody. The defensive team just wants to bat the ball down. The team on offense, you can either catch it or at least keep it alive, which is exactly what the Irish. Everybody's in the penalty area of Hungary. The goalkeeper of Ireland, just hoofs it into the area where everybody's concentrated in that box. An Irish player rises up. He just keeps the ball alive. He hits it with his head backwards into the air just to keep it alive. And the big hero of Ireland is a striker named Troy Parrott. He scored a hat trick in that. So he just toe poked it into the net at the death, and Ireland qualified for the playoffs against the odds. It is something out of like a movie like Rudy or something. It is insane. I've never and you can't really. It doesn't look rigged to me as far as like rigging. I don't see how that's rigged. And it's a big thing in Ireland. It's a major underdog story. So Ireland have not qualified yet. What this has done is kept them alive for the playoff. I mean, it would really a big anticlimax if Ireland did not win their playoff and make it to the World Cup. But nonetheless, that was the story that made me think, wait a minute, I was on this Irish theme. Clearly, it still seems to be going on. And I didn't even know about wrestling. KODI said there was a big Irish theme. So the whole WWE event that KODI talked about, that's happening in the backdrop of this Irish World Cup win, which is that's a huge underdog story. They didn't just beat one, but two clearly superior teams. That's not opinion. Those two teams were clearly head and shoulders above talent wise, and that's the big underdog story. I mean, Scotland had a similar story, but Ireland, it seems to be a theme. So, but they haven't qualified yet. But this is in the air. I think there's going to be a bigger one in sports. And
I'd almost be curious of just countries just by wordplay alone. United States, Uganda, right? Yeah. Uruguay, right? Yeah. Just right off the bat, those would be some of the countries I would be looking at and seeing where are they underdogs in their respective.
Yeah, sports. So it will remain. It remains to be seen what the bracket is and what the draw is, which they're leaving it till late. I don't understand. It's not well organized. They're waiting until March for the playoffs, which they're going to wait till March for the playoffs. The World Cup starts in June. You're not really giving people time to plan if they're going to. You want to give people more than 3 months, honestly. So some people might want to plan to come to the United States, but don't know if their team will qualify. But that's what they're doing. They're waiting until March, 3 months before the World Cup starts to do the draws. That's when you'll see what the brackets are. And so this would, again, just to emphasize what the green and yellow underdog code has been. If a team wears green and yellow, they could be the favorite or they could be the underdog. But an upset happens. So in the NFL, the two biggest upsets this year were the Green Bay Packers, who are one of the favorites to make it to the Super Bowl or even win it. They're one of the favorites. They lost to the Carolina Panthers, 2 touchdown underdogs, and they lost to the Cleveland Browns, who are on one of the worst teams in the NFL, but they also have the dog theme. The dog is the theme of that's on multiple levels. But you also pointed out they played the NFL game in Brazil. The Brazil flag is green and yellow.
Yep,
that wasn't a huge upset. It's just a basic underdog, not a huge underdog. But you figured there'd be an underdog win because the Chiefs were favored over the Chargers. The Chargers were the underdogs, not huge underdogs, but nonetheless,
the favorited team lost in the country where the green and yellow, the flag,
And what I think will happen, it's just my theory, based on the pattern, Brazil are one of they can only be favorites. They can't be underdogs in soccer. The United States, soccer is the only place where the United States is an underdog. And so there are 3 U's: as United States, as Uruguay. That's not a big upset. Uruguay is a competitive team. They're not a huge underdog. Uzbekistan, because it's been expanded, have qualified for the first time, but it's just not realistic to expect Uzbekistan to get out of the first round. It's just not realistic.
Well, United Kingdom, right? They got to be favorites in most of their.
Because United Kingdom is Great Britain. But and Great Britain is England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. They compete separately.
Got it.
So England competes as England. Scotland just qualified today in almost as dramatic fashion as Ireland, at the death. And that's KODI's team, Scotland. They qualified at the death. That's another dramatic game.
Guys, You know that step. I just got to interrupt because you remember that guy who I told you was 1,700 weeks old? He scored a goal. He scored a goal.
Oh wow.
At 1,700 plus odds, and I bet on it. And I just made like $1,000, man.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. That code was so perfect. I knew it couldn't. This guy was like 1,700 odds to score, guys.
Was that in the Golden Knights game?
Oh my gosh. Oh man, adrenaline's up, but that's crazy because it was a perfect code, man. I shared it with you, AJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw it. It was the Golden Knights game, right?
Yeah, I told Rambo about it before the thing. He was perfect, guys. He was 1,700 weeks old. 1,700 weeks old. His odds were plus 1,700 to score, and he wears number 17. It was 17 triangular days before his birthday, and John Cena won his 17th title on number 17's birthday this year in Vegas, where he plays. I knew this had to be it, man, and it happened. This guy hasn't scored a goal for I don't even know how long. And he's the third line defenseman, the last on the third. These guys never score goals. I just proved that these codes work, man. That
reminds me of when Cooper DeJean had that pick 6 in the Super Bowl. It's like, dude, he's a defensive player. Does he ever get to touch the ball? You know, that's a big one. You got to do a recap, breaking down the code you sent me in Discord.
Everyone needs to see this because I nailed it, man.
Yeah.
How much did you bet?
I bet. So I bet 50 or what did I bet? I bet 44-17. I just as a code, the 44-17 code, because that's what the two numbers I was looking at. And yeah, I won almost 1,000 because it was a high odds. I mean, it was really, and it was all free bets, guys. I got a free bet. I just turned free bets into thousands of dollars. It was a free bet from this MGM bet. And I just turned it into over. I won last night too with the Cowboys thing.
Yeah, with the total touchdown.
I don't bet, guys. Even this, I just started betting this week, and all of a sudden I'm up over $1,000 because I'm using the code, man. And it's really proving itself to be So this guy right here, Ben Hutton, a third line defenseman, just scored his goal, number 17. I just told you how important the 17s are, guys. Oh my goodness!
You should look into also look into the two players that were part of the assist. I'd be curious if they were part of it too.
Let me just pull up the game so I can show you. Unless they I looked at it and his goal came up, so I just want to confirm it again just to make sure. But yeah,
I'm seeing it right here. They assisted by Pavel Dorofeyev and Thomas Hurdle.
Oh my gosh, this is so crazy, guys. You understand how odd it is for a third line defenseman who never barely even shoots at all and isn't even on the ice that much to get a goal like this. It's just wow. I can't wait to make a video about this tomorrow and show the world how perfectly I did this because, and this is not just me, guys. It's crazy. It was all about John Cena, man. I told you guys, John Cena's the key right now. If you know what's going on with him and his 17, you're gonna be able to get some stuff. So
Mr. S says, Cody, now you can buy all of us coffee.
Well, yeah, I can buy all you guys coffee.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just I'm sorry to interrupt the show on that, but that I was so excited, guys. I cannot believe this just happened.
Oh, good for you, bro.
Yeah, that's not interrupting the show. I mean, this is part of the highlight of the show.
I mean, that's a perfect example to show you can't tell me that all just organically happened,
No, look again. Let me just prove to you his age today, and the day he's born. Right, he's born the same year as Charlie Kirk too. That's why I knew it was going to come through too, because it was actually connected to Charlie Kirk too. But the guy was born on 4/20, Hitler's birthday, right? And today he's on 3/22. Look how old he is, guys. Exactly 1,700 weeks old, and number 17 scores a goal. As soon as I saw that, I lost my mind. And then look, I typed in Ben Hutton scores or something like that, and it equaled 212, right? And that's a big number with John Cena lately because the last time is now equals 212. The thing he's wearing on his shirt, right? The last time is now 212. It was 212 days after his birthday. Hutton scores goal 212.
There you go.
He scored a goal 212 days. And look, his name, Benjamin Hutton, 212. So that wasn't even about the 17. And Patrick Wall, the reason I typed, you guys know Patrick Wall, the very famous goalie.
Yeah.
Today's 3-2 days before his birthday. And he won his team. I bet his team to win because of it. And I won that bet too. Like I'm like 100% lately. And Ben Hutton, yeah, look at this. What Open Up saying. Ben Hutton, 119. He's 119 days old today. He's 1190 days old today. And he's 403 moons.
43 days remaining. His name also equals 43.
Well, no, look at this. Watch this, though. This was the Chaldean cipher. So important, guys. And again, look at this. Look at the 43s. End of time, like John Cena. Pope Leo, 43. Charles James Kirk, 43. Adolf Hitler. This guy was born on Adolf Hitler's birthday, guys. And look at his name. Ben Hutton, 43, like Adolf Hitler. And watch what happens when you type out the number 17. 43. Dak Prescott last night. This guy's from Prescott, guys. This guy who scored, Ben Hutton, he's from Prescott. That's why I knew it had to come through too. Prescott just won last night with the game ending with that 17 connection. And he played for the Raiders, this Ben Hutton. He played for the Raiders in his pre-college. So the last night you just had Prescott and versus the Raiders. It was just such a perfect code. It was, and look at all the 43s. I don't know what the Dominic West is. I don't remember who that is, but that's something random. But Ben Hutton, the guy's name, 43, Las Vegas Raiders, 43, Dak Prescott, 17. That was the big number. And as soon as I saw his name equaled 17, I was like, I got to put a code in for this. Like, yeah, and you're right. Somebody says quit now. And like, yeah, I'm not going to test my luck too much more. I'm just going to make safer bets now. But this was a higher risk bet. But I saw it coming, guys. I saw it coming, and I sent it to you, AJ. I sent it to Gematinator, and I was like, man. But yeah, I can't believe it still. But this is, and also one last thing. It was not only was he 1,700 weeks old, he scored his first ever NHL goal on the 17th day of the year. At that time, he wasn't even wearing 17 yet. He started wearing 17 years later, but he scored his first ever NHL goal on the 17th day of the year. And today, if you go to his next birthday, look how many days till his next birthday. And you guys know what that is.
Prime. Yeah, try. Yep.
I mean, how much more of a perfect code is that, guys? And for it to come through for a goal, and the sports books would not let me bet a point. I just wanted to bet him to get a point, like an assist or a goal. They wouldn't let me bet that. They only let me bet him a goal. And what were his odds on MGM? It
plus 1,700.
It was plus 1,700, guys, and he's 1,700 weeks old. That is wild, man.
Shout out Quantum too. Just talking about that 212. That's the area code for NYC.
Yeah, 212. That's I forgot that. That's why I wanted to say that too. That's the area code for NYC. That's right, and that's who they're playing tonight. Yep. And the New York Rangers came in with a record away of a 9-1-1.
Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed.
The Vegas, and they haven't lost a road game. New York for I think six road games they've won, and they're horrible at home. The Rangers, it's like, when have you ever seen that? They can't win at home, but they can go 9-1-1 on the road, and happens to line up with this game, right? And the Rangers and the Golden Knights haven't won at home in a few 4 or 5 games, so they're actually opposites, right? Mm-hmm. So I just can't believe it, guys. Goal equals 17. Yeah, Open Up has that in the chat. That's another reason why I bet this guy. Because I just saw the word goal equals 17. So, yeah, it's, man, I knew it had to come through. You always doubt that stuff because it's really low odds, but that was crazy. So I'll let you guys get back to what you're talking about, but thanks for letting me share that. And I'm just can't wait to show the code put together on slides so people can say, see what I did there with that. But that proves that it's important to measure their actual, how old they are from their birth. How much more perfect does it get? He's 1,700 weeks old.
Yep.
Oh, congratulations. That's a lot of hard work because you got to look at every player and every birthday. So, I mean, a lot of work went into that.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, well, I found it at the last minute too, guys. I was all day just looking at the Golden Knights just to win, right? I was just going to bet on that. But then I found this and I was like, I can't not bet on this. I can't not bet on this. I had to, especially it was a free bet. They gave me $100 free bet, and I already won last night, so I was already working on free money. So I was like, I'll just throw I was gonna throw 50 something at it. I should have now because
don't do that. Don't do that to yourself, bro.
No,
don't do.
I'm not gonna do that.
Don't do that to yourself. You can do that
I've
all
only
day
been
long.
betting for a week, guys. I'm not a bettor.
Yeah.
I just started betting because money's been tight, and I was like, I can use my skills to win, right? And here we go.
Yeah, and just be patient, and ride with the codes you like the best, and especially ones that have value like that. You can put such a small amount down for such a nice payout like that. So I'm stoked for you, dude. Before I forget, I want to shout out whoever it was. I apologize for missing it. Someone dropped in the comments earlier today that, to talk about LeBron James for a quick second. He's back today. So today is his first game back against the Jazz. And I want to shout out, he got game Myron. He was posting some stories explaining why that would make a lot of sense for him to come back today on his way to surpass Robert Parrish. But just an update, we're in almost halftime and LeBron's only played, he's played 11 minutes. He's got 3 points. It's kind of besides the point. But anyways, the clock starts now, Cody, as far as now looking at what date will be that 16-11 game. So, and speaking of 17, Ohio, the 17th state, right? So, anyways, I know we're kind of bouncing all over the place here, but yeah,
no, that was good. The good thing about that is you get a live reaction. That's better than Cody finds out, he does a decode the next day. Isn't it better to get the live reaction?
I totally agree. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's funny though, the sports book hasn't actually I'm just a little bit.
Would you use Bovada?
It's a little bit weird because BetMGM, Ohio.
Okay,
but Ohio's the 17th state too, guys. That's funny.
There you go.
But yeah, it hasn't actually come through yet. Maybe because they're still I bet they're wait, what is this guy doing? Because you know what I mean? I just started with this thing yesterday, guys. I've already won all of my bets. I haven't missed one bet yet. I've hit every bet.
And would you say most of these bets are based off of WWE clues for what will happen in other sports?
It was all about John Cena. Yesterday, the Cowboys, and it was the Cowboys with all the 44s this year too. I had Dak Prescott for 4 touchdowns. It was easy. He had that in the third quarter because it was 44 days after his last 4-touchdown game. It was on the 44 days left in the year, and he wears number 4, right? And then I had the tight end, John Ferguson, because his name was John, like John Cena was starring last night, and he was exactly 322 months old or something like that. So that was my cousin even bet on that. I've actually opened my cousin's eyes, who had no idea about gematria, didn't believe it, and now that he's seeing it play out the last few days, he believes it. You see, I'm actually waking somebody up because of this too, because he's wait, well, he already knew something was rigged because he sees what happens when he bets, because he's been betting a lot longer than I have. But with what I've showed in the last days, he's now wait, this is much deeper than just pure simple rigging. This is really deep, right? So yeah, I bet this sports book is kind of checking me a bit because they still haven't credited to me. So
it will. It'll come around. I mean, it just happened. Oftentimes, those things don't happen until the game actually ends. So you got to wait a bit for the game to close.
The money's less important to me at this point, really, than the money's nice. It's great, but I really am just happy to be able to show this code and show how perfectly it hit and how can you deny it? So
yeah.
God bless the illusion in the chat too. I know he's yeah, so got to take a breath. So I'll let Rambo. I think Rambo should get.
Okay, all right. I'll give you some time to you let things digest a little bit,
But I'll let you get to your stuff that you have you want to share. I know you have a bunch that you want to share. So
okay, yeah,
yeah, please.
No, thanks for sharing that, Cody. That was major. So yeah, I'll do a request to screen share.
Yeah.
Let me see.
You have the floor, brother.
Yeah, thanks. It's okay if I don't get through this whole thing because these are pretty much just findings that I've made. and I'm in the process of doing this decode, but I still have to. I just released like one, a little part of my Berlin decode. This is related to that. If you see this image here, this is actually the Berlin Olympia Stadion. That's where this is actually a scene from the Colts Falcons game in the Olympia Stadion on the 9th day of the 11th month, a very major day to the Nazi party. And as KODI, the decode he just talked about now, the money he won, a player who was born on Adolf Hitler's birthday. I've been talking about the Nazis. They are relevant. Starting with, I mean, when Elon Musk does a full-on Nazi salute at the inauguration of a United States president, then yes, it's not just me. Nazis are relevant. One of my premises is the Nazi party did not die. It still exists. So of course, it's not going to come out with swastikas and calling itself the Nazi party. It still exists, and it communicates in code, and it's very powerful. For details on that, I would recommend the work of Dr. Joseph P. Farrell. He done the best work on, and I'm surprised more people haven't. Well, they're showing their code. I mean, I learned about the 119 code from Joseph P. Farrell. There, you saw the 119s in KODI's code, and you saw Hitler's birthday. It's a thing. It is a thing. The 6-7 thing I've been going on too. The 6-7 phenomenon. So this code is based on the 6-7 code in Fallen Angels, and it builds on some things we talked about last week. At the end of last week's show, we talked about Crossroads. KODI's talking about Cody Rhodes, the wrestler, and I talked about Robert Johnson, the legendary blues guitarist, who is said to have been untalented in playing the guitar or singing or even writing, suddenly became a genius, one of the greatest impacts on world culture. In literally, I mean, you can't even. It's hard to really quantify the impact Robert Johnson has had on the world. He says he got that by selling his soul to the devil, or so the legend goes, because he wrote a song about it called Crossroads. He says, I went down to the crossroads, got down on my knees, saying he sold his soul to the devil. The devil tuned his guitar, played it, handed the guitar back to him, and the rest is history. So I'm building on that. The whole thing of the devil selling your soul. KODI talked about, was it John Cena telling another wrestler to sell their soul to him? So this is a theme. So I'm listing, I'll play this at the end. You'll see why it's relevant. I'll play this video. But the themes I'm seeing here, which are connected to multiple events, news, popular culture, sports, history, home is a major theme, and all the implications of home, the cycle and the circle I've talked about. KODI talked about Indianapolis, Circle City, and it was the Colts who played in Olympia Stadion, Hitler's Olympics Stadium. Roads, Crossroads, we talked about. The devil / fallen angel, and the whole fall phenomenon, a fallen angel, and part of the fall phenomenon, just the metaphorical fall, and extraterrestrial disclosure. There may or there may not be extraterrestrial disclosure. Even so, there has been more confirmation from official sources of intelligent non-human life. The United States government representatives have in Congress, under oath, testified. So this is from the powers that be themselves. They were denying it. Well, they've changed now. Now they're saying they not only have craft, they have live, non-human, intelligent life forms, live in captivity, as well as the corpses, and they've back engineered a lot of their craft. The majority of UFO sightings, they're doing things that you just are unseen with the known human craft, in the most technologically advanced craft. There are craft that are doing things that they can't. And people think those are UFOs. The majority of those are man-made craft, which are back engineered from captured UFO craft. And there's an estimate, I don't know what it's based on. There's an estimate that the US government actually is able to shoot down one UFO per year average. I don't know how long that goes back. But as they back engineer them, they also find their weaknesses, and they are able also find out how they can bring them down. And if all this is true, that does not bode well for the rest of the universe. It simply does not. You can take this all with a grain of salt. I would think if there's this super intelligent beings that are so far superior to humans, they're watching humans, and they're watching humans make progress. You cannot afford to let humans reach your level. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this is a realm of demons. The demons have their say here. They're more advanced than humans are, not just technologically, spiritually. How would they allow humans to progress? At some point, they'd have to step in just for the sake of the rest of the universe. This place cannot be allowed. The people who run this place cannot be allowed to have this kind of technology, which is what I don't understand. So that's why I take all of this with a grain of salt. Like, why would they let it get this far? It would endanger them. The chariot. So this is an incident that AJ, you've talked about. On April 30th, back with Hitler again. Hitler's big here. April 30th is said to be the date on which Hitler committed suicide. He probably did not commit suicide, and he most likely did live after World War II. Of course, we'll never know when he actually died. It's unlikely that he really did commit suicide, as they say.
Wasn't it a self-inflicted gunshot wound? Was that the reported? Yes. But his body's nowhere.
Yes, self-inflicted gunshot wound.
But his body, right? Like, there is no preservation of his body, right? Isn't that kind of one of the biggest things? At least it's been a while since I've kind of thought about Hitler and all the weird stuff.
Well, you can see it with this big decode that KODI just did. A player born on Hitler's birthday. Believe me, Hitler, and you brought up. I'll give you 100% credit. You brought up the Michigan player Hyder.
Yeah, I was going to say. Then you had Hyder debuting in Germany. It was like,
yeah, his name is one letter off Hitler.
Yep.
And then he plays a college game in Germany, in Munich. Like
his debut game, his first game, like in college, was in Germany.
So get this too, Hutton, who scored tonight, born on 20/4, right? Guess what? The Vegas can win their 204th game all time, also to go with the date. So that's another thing I saw. I don't know if they will still win, but they can win their 204th to go. That's Hitler's birthday, essentially, to 20/4.
Yeah, 20th. Yeah. So his given death date is April 30th. But yeah, so you're talking about Hitler's death. I think his death is similar to the Charlie Kirk thing, where they clear up the scene right after, so no one gets to see the body. They're like, no, we just cleaned it up and we cleaned up the scene. We use dental records. I think what they're saying is there's something about he committed suicide and then like there's some fire or something. I don't know. Or he told people, or the place got bombed afterwards. So like he was unrecognizable, and they only recognized his body through dental records.
And I could stand corrected here. Shout out to anybody in the chat that could verify this for me. But I want to say I came across a TikTok video or something where they were saying that there isn't even like an official public death record or certificate of Charlie Kirk. At least not yet. I don't know what that timing process looks like. I don't even know if that's true. I'm just throwing that out there that like there's people questioning like where's the public record even of his actual death, I mean, him getting thrown in the back of a black unmarked SUV right when all this happens is pretty sus too. But this isn't a Charlie Kirk episode.
Yeah, but all this is related though. It is relevant.
Of course.
I appreciate that input. I mean, I'm not going to get through this whole thing because this is just the start of a decode. Eventually I'll do the whole decode. So it's okay if you guys jump in because I really don't anticipate finishing this anyway. But I'll just do as much as I can, but feel free to add what do you think is relevant, because so much is tied to this. It'll help my decode too.
I guess lastly to add about the April 30th, we know that it is the founding date of the Church of Satan, but it's also Travis Scott's birthday. Let's not forget about what happened with Travis Scott, the Astro World tragedy, 1 year to the day after the Houston Astros won the World Series in Game 6. That, and that's like just kind of the precursor up to what happened after that, right? So I think that's relevant.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I'll just add in here. Yeah, Joseph, I just saw this. Trump's first inauguration. Talk about another underdog story, but it was 6,666 weeks after Mustache Man was born. That's interesting.
What did I get? 6,000?
666 weeks after. So inauguration,
Wow.
right? You measure from inauguration in 2016. Don't forget 216 is the product of 6 times 6 times 6. But yeah, if you measure all the way back to Mustache Man's birthday, you're going to fall in that 6,666 weeks later.
That's a great stat.
Yeah.
Great find there.
That's a good one, Joseph. Yeah. Thank you.
So April 30th, 2025 at PNC Park in Pittsburgh, which is a baseball stadium, Kevon Markwood fell from the right field stands. And I feel that this was he looked like he legitimately fell in front of anyone. It looked like it really was a fall. I mean, I don't see how this could have been, you can't blame CGI. This is in front of witnesses or whatever. He fell, but it looks like it's part of a fallen angel. So the fall, it's a very major archetype, the fall, and it means multiple things. And it's on this date. So another thing that happened on this date is the death of the
agent John Elway. This was the same day as the whole flipping of the golf cart, right?
No, it's not the same day, but it's the day on which the name is Jeff Spurbeck. This is the day on which Jeff Spurbeck is announced to have died.
Right. The story happened like Wednesday prior to this story happening, but then they announced that he did.
No, the story happened on Saturday. That's the fall. So he fell on a Saturday off a golf cart driven by John Elway.
Right. And then fast forward to the date of this game, which was a couple days later, right? And then that's when they confirmed that he had died. Because he was hospitalized for a couple days before they made it public that he actually died.
So he died on April 30th,
right,
on this day, from a fall. So this is the fall theme.
Mm-hmm.
So there are two falls. Jeff Spurbeck dies from the fall on April 30th. He didn't fall on April 30th, but he died on April 30th. On the same day, there's another fall. Now, he didn't die, Kevin Markwood, but he's severely injured. And John Elway is very significant because he fell off a cart driven by John Elway. I think most people are familiar with John Elway. If they're not, he's a legendary football quarterback for the Denver Broncos. In fact, when you think of Denver in sports, as many great athletes as they've had, John Elway, far and above, is the preeminent Denver athlete. There's no one comes close to him. His star power and status in the city of Denver in professional sports. He is literally John Denver. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this, where I'm going with that, is the sign which was in the background when Kevon fell. This is a fallen angel ritual. It said, "Country roads take me home." So what this is, it's a song by John Denver, a classic song by John Denver, the musician. He's a legendary musician. This is an ad for the state of West Virginia. They're a sponsor of PNC Park and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And so ads like this are done to encourage tourism. They're advertising the state to encourage tourists. And there's nothing, I would say, popular culture, at least in music, that would be an anthem, I guess, for West Virginia. Where else is West Virginia mentioned in a recognizable, iconic song that everybody can recognize? It's this song, "Country Roads Take Me Home." And what are the lyrics? "Country roads take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Martin Mama." So that's what, and he fell in front of this. And this ties into John Elway because John Elway is John Denver. And on this same day, his friend died on the very same day by falling off a cart that John Denver, Elway himself, was operating. And you talk about suspicious events, that's another one. It's a Saturday. No police showed up when he fell off the cart. Only the ambulance did. This is Saturday, and the police weren't informed until Monday. Like, if that sounds credible to you, I doubt it sounds credible to anybody. This is why, conspiracies are a thing. And this is why they suppress conspiracy, quote unquote, channels, because it's just conspiracy channels are truth channels. They suppress the truth. That's not credible. The official story is simply not credible. The police would wait until Monday and wouldn't show up at the scene. Well, that's the story. And these are fallen angel rituals. And also, I talk about this, there's a theme with home as well. Home is a ritual. Take me home. And the devil. And so just to confirm when this happened, it's April 30th. And
Fun fact, really quick, Spadium mentioned that Elway was actually drafted by the Colts. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Cody? Being the Colts fan you are. I mean, and we've talked about Elway a little bit and all that stuff. I was just curious.
What was it, AJ? Elway was drafted by the Colts?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah, because Elway and Manning both just had the horse teams, right? Like that was their thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is significant as far as symbolism, because the horse can stand for many things, and it symbolizes Neptune, and that's part of this. So it was April 30th, and what's the theme I'm talking about here? It's the devil. So the Church of Satan was founded in San Francisco on April 30th. And who is Satan? Satan is associated with Lucifer, associated with a fallen angel. So you can see how that ties in here. It's two falls. Two people died from, well, one didn't die from a fall, but one person died from a fall on April 30th. One person fell on April 30th. April 30th is the anniversary of the founding of the Church of Satan, and Satan is said by some to be a fallen angel. You see how this ties in. And it's a famous etching illustration of Lucifer falling to earth. He was, as they say, expelled from heaven. Lucifer is known as so Lucifer, Lucifer, that's in Latin, is light and then carrier. Fer is carry, like a ferry. If you ferry something, you carry something. Fer is to carry, and Lucy is light. This is a light carrier, which doesn't sound negative. Lucifer's association with the devil came from the Italian writer Dante and from the British writer John Milton. In Paradise Lost, John Milton associated Lucifer, the light bearer, with Satan, as did Dante. I believe it was in the Divine Comedy in 1321. If you look at the original text, which is not written in Latin, obviously, Hebrew, Aramaic, the reference to Lucifer falling from heaven actually translate to King of Babylon. That actually goes back to the Anunnaki, Babylonia, legends of Babylonia and Sumer. And the King of Babylon most likely would be a fallen angel, because the Anunnaki were fallen angels, and they were gods that were also depicted as flesh and blood, three-dimensional beings. The gods were three-dimensional beings in the ancient lore of Babylonia and Sumer, and that's who the fallen angels are, the Anunnaki, who are also in the Bible. You could say they are Nephilim. The Nephilim were giants. Think of the NFL, Nephilim. Im is plural in Hebrew, so singular would be Nephil, and they're giants. So think of NFL. I don't think that's a coincidence. NFL is a reference to Nephilim.
Speaking of which, have you seen that photo of Wemby's feet? I mean, Wemby in general is just a complete. Oh, here we go with my camera again. Just freaking nature, right? Just his build. I've never seen anybody built like that, other than, seeing examples of like ancient Nephilim beings, like these big giant people. And oh my God, man, like if you just Google Wemby's feet, I showed it on that live we did last night, Cody. It's like, I mean, yeah, I want to shout out Tom Zames because he said Nephilim after I shared that. But I was just curious, like, I mean, the NBA is no exception either. NFL, NBA, I mean, we know that there's a lot of genetic manipulation going on.
And who is the god of genetic manipulation? Enki is. Enki is said to be the geneticist who manipulated, I guess, primates. This is an interpretation that they found on Earth, and who are initially supposed to be primitive workers, who are supposed to be intelligent enough to understand orders and to operate tools. And that's it. and then Enki, on the orders of his father Anu. Anu was the father of Enki and Enlil, who were rivals. And in the War of the Gods, Anu was on the side of Enki. Enlil went against Anu. In fact, by some interpretations of ancient Sumerian texts, which are thousands of years older than the Torah, the Bible, Enlil actually fell out with his father Anu because he pulled rank. In fact, some interpretation says he actually severed the genitals of Anu, which horrified the other Anunnaki. And he was cast out of, you could say, Nibiru, wherever they lived. This predates biblical and Abrahamic narratives by a lot, thousands of years. Historians will always debate these interpretations or of translations of the Sumerian texts. That is one of the translations. Enlil actually violated his father Anu, which is why Anu sided with Enki in the War of the Gods against Enlil. Now they had the same father but different mother, but Enlil won the War of the Gods. And some say these are the fallen angels, which are not actual angels, just very superior, advanced physical beings. And that's why the alien thing comes in. So what's Wembanyama? I'm glad you brought in Wembanyama. Yeah, he's a giant. He's like a Nephilim. But what's his nickname?
The alien, and they're now calling San Antonio Area 51. We know all about that. And San Antonio was founded on what? 5/1, May 1st, the same date as the founding date of the Illuminati, and just so happens to be the same birthday as Gianna Bryant, right? But yeah.
So Area 51, that's in New Mexico?
Yes.
Yeah.
Roswell.
Okay. Roswell, New Mexico. So this is why I'm glad. This is why I wanted you to feel free to interrupt, because I know you're not interrupt. You're adding to what I'm saying. I'm so glad you mentioned this, because I'm going to get around to Roswell. I don't know if you already know it or not.
No, I don't. All I hear is Ra, like the god Ra, like kind of makes me think of, I mean, even with what Cody was talking about earlier, like with WWE, Ra, right? Ra, the god Ra, right? And just that whole Egyptian history. But yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Roswell, New Mexico is very relevant to this. There's an alien theme. There may or may not be alien, extraterrestrial disclosure. There has already been some under oath in Congress of their existence. The United States government has some of them in captivity, alive, as well as craft. Yeah, they've been testified to. I mean, people aren't really paying attention to it because for so many years they've been told that it's not true and not possible by the authorities. And when the authorities change and say, by the way, okay, you know what, it is true. Now we're being honest. That's like trying to turn on an aircraft carrier. People still can't wrap their heads around it. Yeah. This is not a conspiracy anymore. They're saying it. The authorities are saying it. And so this is a theme. And so I'm glad you brought up Wembanyama and the fact that he's the alien. Alien is a theme. The fallen angels, the Anunnaki. They're said to be, and this Anunnaki thing is starting to explode as well. When I started looking into this, it wasn't that popular. I mean, even in the truth community, not that many people really are well versed on it. It's like there's a few who are kind of into it, and some people who study it more than others. And if you're into it, you look at those people. Now it's almost mainstream now. I shout out Mandy, one of my patrons, and she showed me a clip of somebody who said in the US government, they actually are using the phrase, the Anunnaki gods are returning. They're saying this in the US government. They're actually saying it. So I'm talking about this. It's about aliens. Aliens are big. The 6-7 phenomena we know going around. 6-7, it's like a younger generation thing where they're all talking about 6-7. It's this code slang of theirs, and now there are all these debates as to what it means. And some of the children, they're saying it because it's popular, but do they really know what it means themselves? Or maybe the kids do know what it means and they're not letting adults know, and if you don't know, you're uncool or something, or you're old or whatever. But clearly it's more than just kids saying it, because I showed in my decode with when Donald Trump went to Japan. This is the Emperor of Japan. These are not kids. This is the Emperor of Japan. When Donald Trump visited Japan, outside the Imperial Palace of Japan, they had a Toyota. This is when Trump was visiting. They had a Toyota Camry with the number 67 on it. So it's not a. So it's not, yeah, that's one of my decodes. I mean, I'll add that to this when I finish this. But I did a decode on that, on Donald Trump, and just a lot of the symbols going, and his visit to Japan, and the assassination of the former Shinzo Abe, who was very close to Donald Trump. I talked about his assassination. That's on my. It's on the truth codes. You'll see that. I included that picture of the Toyota Camry. It's painted like a NASCAR 67 at the Imperial Palace when Trump visited. This is not just something that a bunch of kids came up with. I know the roots of this came from a hip hop group. I think in Philadelphia, they did a 6-7 thing, and I think I think in Chicago, some gang on 67th Street kind of started using it. It started with.
There's a few different stories. I'll just say, like, per what I was looking into, is that it started from the song called Doop Doop by Skrilla, right? Like, there was a song called Doop Doop by Skrilla, and I haven't even listened to it yet. For me, all I saw was 6-7, and I saw the hand symbol is like the fact that they're doing a high and a low thing as they do it, and satanic equals 67. There's my answer. I'm like, that there's clearly a satanic thing going on here, just with the hand symbolism and the number specifically. Pretty simple. But I know that it goes a lot deeper than that too. So that's why I'm very interested in just kind of what you were also able to dig up, because yeah, everybody has their own opinion about what 6-7 means, but it seems like the common theme is nobody really knows what it means. It means what you want it to mean.
Yeah, so you see the satanic theme, and it started in Philadelphia. They're from Philadelphia, and the reason they did it, I think, has something to do with, it's like their own like gang terminology. I mean, I think well, in the Church of Philadelphia in the Bible, right? You know, warning of the synagogue of Satan and all that stuff. So there's that connection to biblically. So you see the satanic theme throughout this satanic thread. So I do actually shout you out here. Thank you. This is something that people haven't talked about. For the 67. Remember I talked about the fallen angel, Lucifer? Mm-hmm. And where did that come from? It came from Milton's Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is a very significant work. It is highly revered and I guess followed, for its symbolism and other, maybe there are some codes in there by the elite, occult elite, really hold Paradise Lost by John Milton in high regard, and they do a lot of events and I guess you said rituals based off of Paradise Lost, and this does tie into the Anunnaki legend, which is about basically the war of the gods and Enki and Enlil, and there's a dispute. Many people dispute between Enki and Enlil. Who's the good one? Who's the evil one? Which one is the devil? By most interpretations, it clearly looks to me as if Enki clearly is the one more benevolent to humans. But because he lost the war of the gods, he gets demonized by the winning faction. They're not going to be flattering towards their enemy. They're going to take all the symbols of Enki, like the trident, and associate it with the devil. So some people say Enki is the devil. He has the trident. The trident's the devil. Because Enki is Neptune, Poseidon, and Enlil is Zeus, Jupiter. And what is Zeus, Jupiter known for? Keeping lightning from humans. King of the gods, the god who other gods look up to, but is a insecure narcissist. What is he afraid of more than anything else? Humans. Not that humans have any plans against him. Keep lightning from humans at all costs. He hoards it. God forbid that humans should elevate. That's the story today. The suppression of humans, censorship, keeping the truth from people, the psyops. There's rarely any there's rarely ever been any real democracy. Suppression of free will. Like it's just been a struggle for humans since day one. There's this force that is just deathly afraid of just free will humans wanting to do the best for themselves. This is day one. This goes back to Zeus. This goes back to Enlil. And this goes back to the Garden of Eden. There are two trees. If you eat from that tree, you will die. That's taken on face value. it says God said, and where did that legend come from? It comes from it did not start with the Torah. It did not start with the Abrahamic texts. It started in with the Babylonian texts and the Sumerian texts. That's where that started. They even call it Eden. Eden comes from the Sumerian word Eden, which is in modern day Iraq. That's where it started. And the Anunnaki legend makes that make more sense. It's Enlil, who is the original archetype of Jupiter, Zeus, who hoarded lightning from humans, who said, do not let humans, or whatever, that tree's a metaphor. So lightning and the apples from the trees are a metaphor for the same thing. It's this thing that elevates human consciousness. It could be lightning, or it could be an apple, whatever that is.
Kind of reminds me of the phrase, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's the fall symbolism too.
Yeah, the fall, the
apple,
fallen, right? The apple, the tree, the fallen man, the apple, right? The forbidden fruit. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and then it kind of ties back into genetics and, right? You know, you're not that far away from where you came from, kind of thing.
And Isaac Newton, they say he discovered gravity by sitting under a tree, and then an apple fell and hit him on the head, which is when he was able to figure out gravity. Well,
kind of makes me think of Johnny Appleseed, like John Cena about to retire. So he kind of got that idea too. I don't know. Just
no, it could be. I mean, so 67.
We'll stay on topic.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, it could be related. Sometimes you throw something out there.
Yeah.
Later on, you connect dots to it. So the 67 code, I said, so where does the idea of the fallen angel being Lucifer, you know, I saw Satan come down from heaven like lightning.
Right.
Again, what's lightning a symbol of? Jupiter, Zeus, who's Enlil, the weather god from antiquity. He was the god of Eden, who said, do not let humans advance. And Enki, on the instructions of Anu, elevated human consciousness against the will of Enki. And against the will of Enlil. Enlil is the one who prevailed in the War of the Gods. And Satan fell like lightning. Why does the Bible compare the Old Testament, Satan to lightning? That's Zeus. That is Jupiter. And again, I always have to make a very important disclaimer whenever I mention this. That doesn't mean Jupiter is Satan. Every entity has a positive and negative side. In astrology, Jupiter is actually the most positive planet. It's considered the greater benefic. It's the god of luck. It's the giant, but the gentle giant. The very avuncular. It's the god of fatherhood, the protector and provider. Jupiter is positive in astrology, but everything has a negative side. Like the Nazis, who use a lightning bolt, who use the eagle, and every empire, Babylon, used the eagle. I'll talk about the eagle more. Those are symbols of Jupiter. So there's a positive side and a negative side. The reason empires use Jupiter is because Jupiter in astrology rules the realm of expansion. As a human being, you may want to expand. You may want to invoke Jupiter, but an empire, you can understand why an empire wants to expand. And there's only one planet you want to invoke for. And they're talking about a world government. I mean, Babylon always had intentions on expanding, ruling the whole world. They just didn't have a concept of the whole world. And that's why they invoke Jupiter, but they don't invoke all of Jupiter. They only invoke the expansion aspect of Jupiter. So they don't worship Jupiter per se. So 6-7, the reason 6-7, one of the reasons it's so significant is because Paradise Lost was published in 67. This is about the fallen angel. It's about Lucifer in 1667. And that's one of the reasons. And so this is what you brought up to me. You told me about the South Park episodes. That's how I'm looking into this. So shout out to you. And this is the scene. I just took the caption. He says in the class, this is one of the teachers at the assembly. The school is assembled, the students in the gym for assembly. And he says, there's been some satanic numerology. I guess I got this from you. You told me about this. So I looked into South Park. And then this is from your decode, AJ. Satanic is 67. And they specifically say satanic in the episode. And where does this go back to? It goes to Lucifer, the fallen angel from Paradise Lost. which was published in 1967. Paradise Lost is the key here because it is a text that almost has a religious stature among the elite. Paradise Lost. And so from the South, so even say in that episode, so they have Peter Thiel come in, and Peter Thiel has talked about the Antichrist. Peter Thiel is one of the tech giants, Palantir, and he's just one of the PayPal. He does. He's one of the main figures in the world today. Whether he's a front man and there's some darker forces behind, but he's talked about the Antichrist. So they have Peter Thiel show up in this episode to talk to the students, and because in real life he has talked about the Antichrist. And this is Peter Thiel in the South Park episode. He says, you see, Satan was a fallen angel. So in this 6-7 episode, where they talk about 6-7 in the South Park episode, they stress the fallen angel and Satan. So again, we're going back to the fan who fell.
South Park, going south, kind of like going the fall south downwards. So sorry, I just got to throw that in there.
Yeah,
got that too.
Yeah, you could say, like, if your season's going south, you could say that means you're having a bad season, you're falling.
Yeah.
But again, go back to the fan falling on the anniversary of the founding of the Church of Satan. And then here it says, Satan was a fallen angel, the fall. This is Peter Thiel talking to them, and they have these images of Satan. And so it's another thing.
I'd be curious to look at the release date of this South Park episode back to when that fall happened this year.
Yeah, so this is these are basically just my notes on this decode, and yeah, I'll start to fill in more gaps like that. Yeah, hopefully, I'll write that down. Yeah. I need to have time to see when the episode aired, but yeah, these are just my notes on it, and I'll do the complete decode. The Antichrist is coming. So Peter Thiel says the Bible refers to, here we go, the eagle. What did I just say about the eagle? Most people wouldn't consider the eagle to be an evil symbol or satanic. It's Enlil. I'm telling you what it is. This is the guy. This is the Nazis. This is Rome. The eagle. That's who's in control today. The eagle. And so Peter Thiel says it. They have South Park says it. South Park has a lot of truth. They predict how much stuff. I mean, I'm thinking of The Simpsons, but the Antichrist is coming. This is quoting Peter Thiel in South Park. The Bible refers to the eagle, which refers to America, the fourth seal broken, and hell coming to earth. So that's a quote from Peter Thiel in South Park. But what I like about that, I mean, not I like it, but it confirms what I've talked about, is the significance of the eagle. And
really quick, hey, I just want to shout out Adam. This is a really good observation. Peter Thiel, right? Emphasizing the EL at the end of Peter Thiel. And Peter denied Jesus or God 3 times in the Bible, right? And L means God. So that's a really good one, Adam. Nice.
Okay, and there's another one with Peter. Jesus says, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Who was Jesus referring to? He was referring to Peter in the Bible. So yeah, that's part of, again, I'll add this to my decode. When Jesus said, "Get thee behind me, Satan," he was talking to Peter. So yeah, that was a great so Adam's contribution reminded me of that. Peter is Satan.
Yeah.
But who is Peter? Peter is Jupiter. Jupiter. How do we know this? The statue of ancient Roman statue of Jupiter, which is and also statues of Zeus, who's Jupiter, depicted him in a throne, seated in a throne with 1 foot forward. That is exactly how Saint Peter is depicted at the Vatican. The ancient Roman statue of Jupiter, the god Jupiter, with his eagle next to him, was moved from Italy. It was moved to St. Petersburg at the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg. Why did they move an ancient statue of the god Jupiter to St. Petersburg, Russia? Why would they do that? Italy's a powerful country. I mean, powerful countries will steal items from third world countries, like Egypt has been raided. That's how it is when you're a third world country. They can just go in and take your stuff. That's just how it is. You can't do that with Italy. Italy's top dog. How does Italy lose a statue? Because there's a bigger force above them who said the statue of Jupiter, the ancient statue of Jupiter from Rome, has to go to Russia. Why? Because it's St. Petersburg, Russia, at the Hermitage Museum. It's
Rambo, this is crazy with what we were just talking about 2 or 3 weeks ago about my trip to Petersburg, Florida, and St. Petersburg is right down the road from where the Lightning play in Tampa, right?
And we see the same symbolism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all coming back. It's all coming full circle. That's
the
crazy.
Lightning, Peter.
Yeah, St. Peter's.
They even have it in South Park. Most people don't associate the eagle with something evil, especially in the United States.
Yeah, so I was going to say that. Yeah,
right. So the eagle. So like I said, when it comes to symbolism, there's positive interpretations and negative for the same thing. Everything has a positive and negative side. The positive side of the eagle is it's the top of the food chain in the air, and it really has no predators because it can fly. So you'd say like, you know, a lion, which is kind of considered to be top of the food chain, or some other big cat in the same environment as an eagle. Can't really catch an eagle because the eagle can fly. So it's the eye in the sky. The eagle's the eye in the sky with like super crazy, incredible eyesight, and it has no predators. But so it represents freedom. The eagle represents freedom, and that's one of the positive sides of Jupiter: expansion and freedom. People who have strong Jupiter in their chart, Jupiter rules Sagittarius and Pisces, very often they can get claustrophobic, and not that they're the only ones. Typically, I mean, most Sagittarius, they like to travel. They travel. They don't just stay in one place. They move around. They will travel. They need a passport. They need, and that's Jupiter and Pisces as well. Very often, not all the time. And that's not the only ones. Jupiter could be strong in a person's chart because Jupiter is expansion, and it'll affect you in your. If it's very strong in your birth chart, you'll need to get around, and you don't want to be contained. Jupiter is expansion. That's the eagle, which has freedom. But you can understand why empires want that, because they want to take over not the whole world, the whole universe. That's why the advanced extraterrestrial technology here on Earth, they want to use it so they can take over anywhere in the universe where there is intelligent life. The force that's very doesn't have absolute power, so you don't want to give them the power of God, but they have a lot of power here. Clearly, look at this place.
I think this is a great segue into, or just a piggyback off of what you're just saying, Rambo. This whole thing about the concern about the true potential of human beings, right? And shout out Mike from Michigan, really quick, points out when Rambo pronounced Jupiter, right? When you said that, it reminded him of Geppetto or Geppetto from Pinocchio, right? What's the whole story about Pinocchio, right? Essentially turning humans into wooden dolls, right? Right? Like taking away the magic away from a child. And that's kind of the whole thing back in the Bible, be as a child, right? That's the only way you enter the kingdom of heaven. And what do they do in this, whatever this is that we're living in, right? They really try to take away all of that from the very beginning, knowing how powerful we are the moment we enter this world where we are pure, where we aren't being manipulated, right? So I think that was a good comment there. Just Jupiter, Geppetto, there's definitely got to be some kind of connection there with a very classic story in Pinocchio. And lies and deception and deceiving, right? The nose growing, all that stuff. So
yeah, absolutely, yeah. Pinocchio is very deep. A lot of very deep esoteric messages in Pinocchio. So yeah, that's I'll look into the Geppetto character. But so Enlil is the chief god. When I release this, I'll leave the link. Mesopotamian god. You can just look this up if you're interested. There are multiple sites. And it's good to look at the different interpretations as well, because they don't all agree. Take everything, don't just go down one rabbit hole. But it is the Mesopotamian king. So the Mesopotamian gods, which are the gods of, Sumer, these are the fallen angels. And they're depicted with wings. I don't know if you can see the winged disc. So they were flying. They came from heaven to earth. And so you have Enlil. So Enlil's second in command is Ninurta, also known as Ningirsu. That's his son, second in command. And he is Ares to Greece, Mars to Rome. And this is the earliest known, that they've told us, or that they've shown us, depictions of the double-headed eagle. And we all know about the double-headed eagle. It was this is interesting. So they say that we know what the double-headed eagle is. I mean, where most prominent, it's on the flag of Russia as well. It's on their emblem, as well as, you know, the Scottish Rite, 33rd degree. They say that this was in modern day Turkey. This depiction of the double-headed eagle, which is the eagle, this represents Ninurta, who's the son of Enlil. It's 3,300 years old. How convenient, 33. I mean, come on, really? I mean, maybe it is 3,300 years old, or maybe it's older than that, but they have to get that 33 in there. But that tells you where this comes from. When we see modern day emblems like double-headed eagles and 33, it didn't start a couple hundred years ago. This started in the beginning. This is ancient. This is still influencing what happens today. So they had to throw the 33. They're saying this is 33,000 years. Well, this is Ninurta, son of Enlil, and Ninurta is Mars. Enlil is Jupiter. Enki, who lost the War of the Gods, is Neptune, and he's the geneticist. There's another Sumerian god, not as well known, is Ningish Zeta. He has the original Caduceus. Ningish Zeta is Mercury, and he is Thoth and Hermes. Ningish Zeta. And I've looked at different interpretations. Some say he's the son of Enlil. Some say he's the son of Enki. But either way, he was on the side of Enki. Oh, people can follow this to the best of their ability. In the War of the Gods, he was on the losing side. But I guess so. This, along with UFO disclosure, this Anunnaki mythology is becoming very popular, almost mainstream at this point. I can't, from the time I started looking into it, it was nowhere near as prominent and recognizable as it is today. So this goes along with extraterrestrial disclosure. And so Ninurta is Mars. That's the son of, he's a double-headed eagle. He's the son of Enlil, Jupiter. In the tarot tradition, Mars is the Tower card, which is card number 16. And the Tower depicts a very interesting depiction here. It's royalty losing their status. What does that remind you of? Lucifer, the story of Lucifer losing his crown. But before the Lucifer story came out, which, I mean, the original Lucifer in, I guess in Aramaic, was king of Babylon. It was not Satan, it was king of Babylon. And that could be one of the Anunnaki as well. That could be Marduk. So Marduk is another one. There's Enki, Enlil. The other big god there is Marduk, who's pretty nasty piece of work as well. He's the son of Enki, but turned against his father. And that's Marduk. And his symbol is the dragon. When you see dragons, that's Marduk. And he's this tower symbol in the tarot also relates to that. These kings, so you see someone with a crown, there's a crown being knocked off the tower. It represents Mars. But as you can see, like I said, there's positive and negative to anything. This looks pretty ominous and scary and negative, but acts of divine love, shocking change. The change could be positive or negative, but just change. Liberation and freedom. I'll talk about freedom. What's the symbol of freedom? The eagle. So these have a positive interpretation when the card in a reading comes out upright. If in a reading this card comes out upside down, that's when it has a negative meaning. But the image of royalty falling, that's along with the fallen angels theme and the whole Satan theme. And what do you see here? Lightning. Again, the same themes: Satan, lightning, falling, losing your status. And on the Aleister Crowley tower, you have
Rambo, really quick, if I could add just one other little note here. When we talk about the Anunnaki, right, also known for short as the Unaki, right? Am I understanding it? Because I've heard people say the Unaki, and then I've heard the full Anunnaki, right?
I've never heard Unaki. I'll be honest.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is a thing. I just never heard it. It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, with the fallen themes, New York, the towers falling, all that stuff. A very popular TV show back in the day was Friends, right? We, don't forget, we just had the death of but the death of Matthew Perry 2 years ago, and all of that stuff. But I say that to just point this out, and maybe someone in the chat can kind of see what I mean by this. But there was a common theme where this character, Ross, one of the key people in the show, this takes place in New York, right? This whole show takes place in New York, and he has this whole I don't even know what to call it, a psychological practice that he follows, and he says unagi, and he flips his fingers, like his hand symbol that he's doing right here. He starts it like this, and then he flips it as he's like pointing to his temple. And I know that this is like a Freemason symbol as well. Like Jordan's done with the 6 rings, you know, putting the fingers on the temple and all that stuff. But I was just thinking Anunnaki, Unagi, and just the symbolism with this running joke. There's a whole episode on it. But yeah, just the fall, New York. But I could be totally wrong. I don't know if Unaki is like a shortened version of Anunnaki, but this is a very weird word for me. Unagi.
I'd never heard of Unaki. Maybe it is, but maybe
Yeah.
maybe it is a thing.
But anyway, sorry, back to you, brother.
So yeah, that's the tower. So I'll go a little quicker here. So another, along the theme of kings losing their, someone with status losing their crown. This is my personal interpretation. King Kong actually represents Enki. In 1976 version of King Kong, he actually climbs the World Trade Center, and he actually falls off of the World Trade Center, King Kong. And I think King Kong is actually, and then think about King Kong falling off the tower, see the crown, these are like king's royalty falling off, they're losing their status, you know. Like
you being from New York, Rambo, do you remember that whole trend with the New York Knicks? The whole phrase? I asked that with King Kong. In relation to King Kong, there was something that the Knicks kept saying, Knicks fans kept saying for the last couple of years. And it falls right in line with this. Bing bong, bing bong. I don't know if you remember that, but that was...
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah. New York Knicks, bing bong. You could just Google search it and you'll see what that's about. But that makes a lot of sense. New York, Twin Towers, King Kong, everything you're talking about.
No, he's a king. But what's the kicker with the... Which I've always talked about, the World Trade Center. What is the design on the Twin Towers?
Yeah, the trident.
The tridents of Poseidon, who is Neptune, who is Enki. And this is Enki. And this is just, again, probably no etymologist or historian would agree on this. And they'd look at me like, who is this guy just to make his own thing up? I think that the word monkey is derived from Enki. And I think that's probably done to insult, because the winning side won. They can make all these terminologies. They can decide that his symbol now represents the devil. That's because they won. Well, as even South Park will tell you, of all people, the eagle, that's endless. Whenever have you seen, which I think this is pretty groundbreaking, maybe this is Age of Aquarius. The eagle's evil too. And the first person to break that of the mainstream is South Park. You always think of the trident as representing the devil, as the trident as the evil symbol. South Park, of all people, is now telling you with the 6-7 craze, the eagle is evil, and that's Enlil. You're this amazing gematria super match, which is quite extraordinary. I'll go back to this, between devil and Enlil. Look at that on every Grand Slam. Enlil and devil. That's Jupiter. That's the eagle. That's the weather god. And all his different analogs. So I think the word monkey actually comes from Enki. I don't know if you even find any, I guess, linguist who agree with that, but I think it does. And part of the reason I think of that is, on I've lived in Kenya. My father's side of my family is from Kenya, East Africa. In multiple Kenyan ethnic groups, traditional beliefs, they have a god, a chief god in their traditional belief called Enkai. Enkai. I believe that Enkai and Enki are the same entity. People like Zachariah Sitchin and other Gerald Clark, Matt LaCroix, these are some prevalent figures who've really focused on this, studying the Anunnaki. Are they Sumerologists? No, but still, their interpretations, and they've done really in-depth study on it, is that Enki, so they basically colonized Earth, and Enki was given Africa to be colonized. Enki lost the war of the gods, and that's one of the reasons Africa in modern times gets the short end of the stick, let's be honest. And Europe dominates. It's a Europe-dominated world. Well, that's Enlil's territory. He was given Europe to basically colonize, and Marduk was given the Middle East. This is all open to interpretation. Look at every interpretation. I look at certain things and I see if they add up. I look at the symbolism going on, and it seems to add up. There are multiple African, in Kenya specifically, groups, ethnic groups who have Enkai as their chief deity. The Kikuyu, this is the name of these ethnic groups in Kenya. The Kikuyu, the Embu, Meru, Maasai, they all have Enkai as a chief deity. And you can say, okay, that's just a coincidence. They also describe him the way the Sumerians do, as it's a god, but a flesh and blood god. You say that's a coincidence? The Kikuyu also have a female deity named Asherah, just as the Sumerians have Asherah. Well, as Babylonian came after Asherah. What is the coincidence you're going to have Enkai and Asherah? The odds of that are slim. They are most likely describing the same entities, whether these actually existed or this could be symbolism that is held in human consciousness across the world. Maybe it could be that. Or maybe they are referring to actual entities. Well, one thing I do point out, Queen Elizabeth became, and she's probably the most significant monarch, and maybe the most significant monarch. They made sure she became queen when she was in Kenya. Her father, King George, died. She was in Kenya at the foot of Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya is a sacred mountain to the traditional beliefs of the Kikuyu, particularly, because it is sacred to Enkai. And who's Enkai? Come on, that's Enki. That's a fallen angel. And Queen Elizabeth just happened to become queen there. They know. Believe me, they know. They don't want to tell you, but just look at the coding, they know. And this is Enki, the trident. King Kong is Enki. And this is 1976 version. He fell off the Twin Towers. And so this is Anu, their father, where the trident came from. This is a depiction of Anu. And you can see in his hands, he's holding two tridents. This is the way they depicted the tridents. Anu is the father who Enlil violated and was cast out. And that's why he gave his tridents to Enki. I want to just like wrap this up real quick. This is Enlil and his equivalents. The Canaanite El, Adam brought up El. That's Enlil. So Peter Thiel, great addition. It's right up the alley. This is who Enlil is. In other traditions, he's El, Dagon, Baal, that's Canaanite, Cronus. Well, okay, I'm not sure about this, but Cronus is Saturn, Kronos. But his planet is Jupiter. Jupiter is Zeus. So I'm not sure about this Cronus thing, but that's the thing. You'll get these different interpretations. But these are all analogs of Enlil. He's the weather god. He's Jupiter, king of the gods, god of the sky, thunder, lightning bolt, eagle. And False Spark, I told you, this is actually an evil symbol. That's the Antichrist symbol. When they built the second temple in Jerusalem by Herod, he made sure to put a golden eagle outside the temple. The Israelites or Hebrews, I don't know if they use the term Jews at the time, they protested, like, we don't want that eagle there. But since Herod built the temple, he had the power to do it. He was Roman tetrarch. He ruled that region under Rome. He had the power to build a second temple. They initially did remove the eagle. And then Herod told them, no, you're going to put that eagle up there. I built you this temple. It's going to have that eagle. And that's the importance of the eagle. That was Rome. Even when they built the temple, they had to put the eagle up there. And so South Park, this is Peter Thiel. He talks about Revelation 6:7. Revelation talks about the fourth seal. Again, in gematria, fourth, in the Elizabethan cipher is 119, Revelation 6:7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, "Come and see." That's very cryptic. This is very esoteric and arcane. But this is what South Park made a reference to this. The fourth, there's 7 seals. That's a reference to the 7 chakras. And what's the fourth chakra? It's the middle chakra. It's the heart chakra. The 7th seal, the fourth seal is the heart chakra. The crown chakra, you see all this crown symbolism? That's the 7th. That would be the 7th seal, the crown chakra. That's what the 4th seal is. And when was Peter Thiel born? In 67, of course. That's why he's in that episode. And we talked about the Church of Satan being founded on April 30th when they had that fall ritual at the PNC Park. The head of the Church of Satan is Peter Gilmore at the moment. How old do you think he is right now? He's 67. So that's what it goes to. Paradise Lost, published in 1667.
That's a really good one with the Peter Thiel, Peter Gilmore. I had Peter Gilmore in my book, The Hand, going back to that a couple years ago. But yeah, Peter the L. Shout out Adam again. Just point out Queen Elizabeth.
Yep.
Right. You know, the L is pretty frequent.
Again, it's very important
Yeah.
where she became queen. Where did she become queen? At a mountain that is sacred to Enki. Who is Enki? Because the same group that has Enki as a male deity has Asherah. That's not a coincidence. They made sure. And so a symbol of the British Empire, because they expanded primarily through their navy, is Britannia. Britannia is a female symbol of the British Empire, and she holds a trident. So the British Empire, unlike the other empires, is very unique. All the other empires, this is kind of interesting, they use Jupiter symbols. They use the eagle. Rome, Babylon use the eagle. Nazis use the eagle. United States uses the eagle, the present empire. Russia uses the double-headed eagle. They say the sun never sets on the British Empire. We're talking English right now. You're not English. I'm not English, but we're speaking English. It's the world language. It's a small country. We're all speaking its language. And they say the sun never set on the British Empire and Jupiter rules expansion. They do not use Jupiter symbols, interestingly enough. That's the one empire that does not use Jupiter symbols. They actually use Neptune symbols. Really interesting. Britannia holds the trident. And that's who Enki is. And that's so yeah, Elizabeth. And although that, so 67, Peter killed, he's talking about the Antichrist and stuff, born in 67. And Peter Gilmore, who's the head of the Church of Satan, is 67 now until May 24th next year.
That's some mind-blowing stuff, Rambo, seriously. And I wanted that there was one other thing that I stumbled upon last night, and KODI was part of the stream as well. We were talking with TJ, Contemporary Problems, and I think everything that you just talked about with Enlil, the Church of Satan, Peter Gilmore, 52, the direct overlap with Devil and Enlil, etc. There was one thing that TJ brought up last night that just kind of blew my mind, and I haven't had a chance to dive into this movie he referenced. Adam the Illusion is very familiar with my work on Clay Thompson and water, right? I have a whole book, Clay Thompson, and it started with water, but then I saw that he was connected to all the elements of matter, etc. But perfect segue, if you don't mind, Rambo, I just wanted to share one or two slides with you really quick, because you touched on a lot of things that fall right in line right now with Clay Thompson and how important it is right now, why he left San Francisco, where the Super Bowl is being played, where the Church of Satan was founded, etc. Right? Check this out, Rambo. I think you're going to get a kick out of this, man. And I know obviously there's got to be more to dissect. But we talked about Enlil 52, right? Enlil, Devil, all 52, okay? The upcoming NBA trade deadline is going to be on February 5th next year, okay? The date written 5/2. That's 3 days before the Super Bowl, which just so happens to be Clay Thompson's birthday, okay? Clay Thompson equals 52. The Super Bowl's being held in California, right? The trade deadline ends on 5/2. And then 3 days later, February 8th, will be Clay's birthday, same day as the Super Bowl, like I said. What blew my mind was TJ said, because I was telling him about the water connections and all that stuff, and the horse connections. We've talked about this. Clay left San Francisco to become a Maverick. Now he's a horse. That same time, now he's dating Megan the Stallion, who's a horse. And now she's making a pitch potentially to perform in the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but if you just search Megan the Stallion Super Bowl 2026, you'll see that she's going public saying that she wants to perform. So don't be surprised if that happens. But what blew my mind was TJ was like, "Oh man, you should look into this movie called The Water Horse, which came out not only on Klay Thompson's birthday, February 8th, the same date as this upcoming Super Bowl, but it also came out in 2008. So there's your double 28 right there. 28 in the year 2008. By the way, Dallas, Texas equals 28, right? In Pythagorean. And, you know, Klay's birthday, 2/8, same date as the Super Bowl. There's this weird water horse connections with Klay as I continue to keep an eye on where he's going. And of course, he's having probably his worst season yet. But yeah, just very interesting to see that. Oh, and then just to reemphasize, he was also an Eagle. This is the high school I went to. Klay Thompson was a Santa Margarita Eagle. And then as I found this photo, I had to chuckle because look who he's standing next to. The number 52. Of course he is. So yeah, hopefully that I wasn't throwing too much at you at once, but there's this movie I don't know anything about other than the title, Water Horse. Klay is a water symbol through and through. And now there's these horse themes coming up as we're on the doorstep of the year of the horse. And then now there's this movie that I just found out about that came out in 2008, the same year that Klay and I graduated together as Eagles.
Oh, you know him personally?
Yeah, Klay and I were the starting guards on our freshman basketball team.
Oh, okay.
I thought I told you that. Yeah, I don't really talk about it as much.
Yeah, I guess you don't talk about it as much. Most people, I guess, would talk about it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was funny. The Water Horse coming out on Klay's birthday in 2008.
So there's duality there. Enki, who is Neptune, Enki is not related to the horse, but his analogs in Greece and Rome are related to the horse. So, what Greece and Rome did continue from the original archetype of Enki is they made him the god of the sea and the waters.
I have to step aside very, very quickly, but Rambo, please continue. I'll be right back, you guys. Sorry.
You got to give me the screen.
Sorry, Rambo.
I need the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, let me give it back. I'm so sorry this happens, but I'll be right back, brother.
Okay. All right. I'll continue with the decode. So this is the 67 and its relation to the devil, Satan, the 6-7 fallen angel, that theme, Peter Thiel. Born in 67, the head of the Church of Satan, 67 years old at the time, Peter Gilmore. And again, there's that name, Peter Gilmore, Peter Thiel. And I'll when I do the decode in full, I will get a graphic. So you really get the idea, the clear idea. When Jesus is quoted as saying, "Get thee behind me, Satan," he is talking to Peter. And that is why they like this name, Peter. And who is Peter? It's Jew Peter. St. Petersburg, Russia has the Roman statue of Jupiter. Why? Because it's a city named after St. Peter. St. Peter is Jupiter. And so here's a symbol of angels is the halo. Everybody knows that. The halo is a symbol of angels. So here's a fallen angel ritual. We know it's a fallen angel ritual because of this halo. There was a big upset in English football. I think it was 2023. It was in the FA Cup, which is the oldest soccer competition in the world. It's a competition literally between pretty much every registered team in England gets to play. Of course, the lower teams will eliminate each other in the early rounds, but it's the oldest competition in soccer, and the romance of the FA Cup is that a lower division team, there are literally 10 divisions in England and even lower than that. A fairy tale is they can get drawn to play an elite team in the Premier League. That's the romance of the FA Cup. So that's just to give you context of what this competition is. Well, there was one of the big upsets that you expect in this competition, the FA Cup. I think it was 2023. And that is when an underdog played a team in the second tier of English soccer. And this team is from the 6th tier so they're not even professional at that point. And there was a fallen angel. So the team is called Maidstone. Maidstone played Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town is the team. They were in the Premier League last season. and they were now they're in the second tier. A team from the 6th tier upset Ipswich Town in the FA Cup. And there's a fallen angel ritual in that game because a fan fell out of the stands. This is a fallen angel ritual. It's here, headline from The Sun. Fan chaos. Shock moment, Maidstone fan falls off stand during wild celebrations as non-league sides. Non-league means they're not even professional. They're not even in the league. In the top 4 divisions of English soccer, once you leave the 4th division, you're no longer in the football league, and you're part-time. You're entirely part-time. They're in the 6th division. They're 2 divisions below. They're non-league. Well, they defeated a team in the 2nd tier. Huge upset, but there's a fallen angel. How do we know it's a fallen angel ritual? Because look at who sponsors the home team that was upset, Halo. That's their team sponsor. And this is just a headline. Halo becomes front of shirt sponsor for Ipswich Town. This is the team that got upset. And at the upset, this fan falls out of the stand. So you know what they're telling you. That was a fallen angels ritual. And in case you might not have noticed, this is Ed Sheeran, so the singer. So I know many people are not into English soccer, but it ties into a lot of things, American sports and the celebrity world, though many people have heard of Ed Sheeran. He's the biggest celebrity fan of Ipswich, the team that's sponsored by Halo, who had the fallen angel ritual. And you can see the sponsor at their stadium, Halo CRM, Halo Spa, Halo. The fan actually fell on top of where it says Halo. So you know what that is. It's a fallen angels ritual. And that brings me to Manchester United, one of the most supported, widely supported professional sports franchises in the world. And what do they have? They have the trident that we talked about, and their nickname is the Red Devils. So you have the devil symbolism and the trident. And just if you get a close-up of the Manchester United logo, what does Manchester United badge mean? This is a very world-famous badge, one of the most iconic in all of world professional sports. It's a devil with a trident. And so this takes me back. Now I'll go all the way back to the beginning. Where are we going with this? The Red Devils of Manchester United. Going back to the original fan that fell at PNC Park in Pittsburgh on April 30th, which is the anniversary of the founding of the Church of Satan. This is where PNC Park, where the fan fell, and he fell in front of the John Denver song. The sign with the John Denver lyrics of "Country Roads, Take Me Home." Those are the lyrics of the John Denver song, where the fan fell. And talk about Man United and the devil symbol that they have. I will play this video. "Country Roads Take Me Home" has been adopted as an anthem by Manchester United recently. This is not a traditional thing. It's only happened.
I was going to ask, is that always been a thing? I didn't know.
No, that's because I've followed English soccer pretty much my whole life. I've been a fan of it. That was never so. The tradition now in maybe I don't know across the world, especially in England, is before a game kicks off, the fans will sing the team anthem. And the anthem could be an adopted pop song or something, but the fans will belt out the team anthem before the kickoff. And
I'm just thinking of like a reverse psychology where like America, we're like singing a English song, like watching a NFL game. Right? I mean kind of like that. No,
I can give an example. Of course, this also gives the an example. We talk about Robert Johnson and the impact he had. Well, blues has affected the whole world. So how many great British bands, rock bands, have there been? Well, it started from American blues. So the United States has had the biggest influence on world culture than probably in history. No country has had a big influence on world popular culture as the United States has. And a lot of it is the music, and blues music is right at the heart of it. So it's understandable that around the world they would adopt American songs because United States has dominated world culture.
That's fair.
But
Okay.
I can give you an example of a British. Granted, yes, British rock was influenced by American blues, but a British. Think of the Alan Parsons Project, who have the anthem to the Chicago Bulls.
Right.
Sirius. That's a British group. Think of
Good point. Yeah.
We Are the Champions. We Are the Champions is a song by Queen.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. That now I sound like an idiot.
No. It's good to talk about this subject. So Queen,
I guess for me, it's more of like West Virginia, like people in England, like it would be like
yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah.
Birmingham, England, like like if I was watching NFL, I don't know.
Well, Birmingham, Alabama is named after Birmingham. Yeah, but I see what you mean. You're specifically identifying with a specific like state. So you actually have a good point.
And that was like that's like one of the biggest lines of the song, right? Like everyone really belts that part out.
So this goes back to, again, just to reemphasize, Country Roads Take Me Home, where on the anniversary of the founding of the Church of Satan, the falling angel ritual happened. This was a falling angel ritual happened. I made all these connections to the devil, and Manchester United has the devil symbol. We just talked about the game that was played in the Olympiastadion in Berlin. And this is just I guess 3 minutes and change. We'll get an idea of before the game started between the Indianapolis Colts and the Atlanta Falcons in Berlin, Germany, what they sang. Here it is.
Older than the trees, younger than the mountains, rolling like the leaves. Country road, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country road.
So this is Manchester United fans. So I'm just fast forwarding to Manchester United fans at Old Trafford. The name of their stadium is Old Trafford, which sums to 119 in gematria. 119 Old Trafford, the Trident. They've adopted this in recent years. I don't even know when it started. It hasn't been that long. But what they do, and I know what you talked about, they're saying, "Take me home, West Virginia," in Germany. Like, why is West Virginia?
Yeah.
So at least what Manchester United fans do is they change the lyrics. They don't say West Virginia. They say Old Trafford, which is the name of this. So they at least switch.
I was gonna say, I was like, I'm envisioning them singing West Virginia in England, right? Like I don't know, anywhere outside of the US. Like it.
So I'll just show you the Manchester United fans singing it. It's their anthem. So what they say, to Old Trafford to see United. Take me home. But that shows you the significance of this. And just to wrap up the Man United thing, they have a new stadium in the works. It's going to hold 100,000 fans. It is literally, it's a temple to Neptune. It has 3 spires, towers. These represent the trident. The 3 points. They're going to have 3 towers that are pointing up. It's a computer rendition of what it will look like. But these 3 points represent the trident. And Old Trafford is the name of the stadium. 119. You know what that's about? The twin pillars. King Kong, who's Enki. And again, the Temple of Solomon came down on this date, and this is the date 119 on which where they were singing the song. The November 9th, when the Indianapolis Colts played the Atlanta Falcons in Berlin, Germany, because 119 is a sacred date to Nazis. That's when they had the coup on November 9th in 1923, and Kristallnacht, the pogrom that started in 1928, and then the Berlin Wall fell on 119. This was a Nazi code that has to do with the destruction of the Temple of Solomon. In fact, destruction of Solomon's temple comes to 119. It was destroyed on Tisha B'Av, which is the 9th day of the 11th month. That's what this goes back to. And so there is a dispute. People say Enki is a devil, and there's a devil. Regardless, that's the symbol that goes into this. And there's so much more connected, but I'll stop it there. It was pretty lengthy as it is. Thanks for letting me.
No, of course, Rambo. Adam is still tuned in. He was just saying Rambo just said 119 right as the Lakers advanced to score 119 points. LA, the city of angels.
Thanks. Thanks. I've been seeing a lot of that synchronicity has been happening, I'd say, over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah. So I guess to kind of close it out, right? I think we overextended ourselves last week with a 4-hour show. And obviously, once again, if you guys haven't been paying attention to the ticker below, once again, mark your calendars. If you guys would like to join us on the weekly live streams, we're going to start an hour earlier moving forward, going into next week. I'll remind everybody as we close out. But Rambo, this last image you just shared with me here, did you see that like Saudi Arabia is also working on a stadium that's going to be like on a massive skyscraper? You should look into that. It's almost kind of looks like a space, like the Space Needle in Seattle, but there's going to be a whole arena up where the top of the tower is.
Yeah, and they're going to host the World Cup. When is okay? The next is 26, and then in 2030, Saudi Arabia is hosting the World Cup. So that might be used in the.
It looks all like AI generated at this point, but like the way it looks absolutely, out of this world, pun intended. It's like, oh my God, how are you going to get 100,000 people all funneled up through,
Is that how many fans it'll hold?
I don't know exactly, but it's going to be.
It's still a lot of fans. That's a lot of elevators.
Exactly.
A lot of elevators. It's not even necessary. Why is that even necessary?
It's a very interesting concept, but something to look out for in the next couple of years. But Cody, you still with us? Maybe you're doing jumping jacks and you're breathing heavy, but I know we've covered a lot of ground. I just wanted to reel you back in, brother. So long as you're still out there.
Yeah, I'm here. I've been listening and learning a lot, really, but I'm still shocked over here as well. But I'm here and just with the whole.
Congrats on that Hutton win, dude. That's a real big one, man. I look forward to seeing your full breakdown when you get.
And I got every other bet right too tonight. Like last 2 days, I'm perfect. I got the 4 touchdowns I just can't believe how on the code I've been the last 2 days. It's mind blowing because I'm new. I just started like betting like really heavily the last few days, and I can't believe it.
Good for you, brother. Always, my only advice is,
Stuff
take
like,
your big
really
earnings and take a little bit left and then go at it again.
No, I'm not. In fact, I'm probably not going to be betting a lot anyway at all. I'm going to be very, like careful with this because I actually need the money right now. So I'm going to walk with most of it as long as they pay it out because they still haven't paid it out to me. But I think these people are going to think. I'm afraid what they're going to think because I've absolutely exposed them the last few days just since I got on here. So on free bets. So we'll see. But it definitely, I need the money. So, and that's the only reason I started doing it and to prove that hopefully prove that the code works. And I'll have a video on that probably tomorrow. But anyways.
Rambo, you were going to say something?
I forgot my kicker. AJ, so remember I told you, because you brought up Roswell.
Yeah,
Remember I said I had a kicker of Roswell? Okay, I missed it. I'm glad I remembered.
Yes.
And what did you bring up Roswell? It had to do with Wembanyama.
Area 51.
Area 51.
And Antonio founded on 5-1. They're now calling it, but because this player named Castle wears 5, and he's the one that's really stepped up since De'Aaron Fox has been injured. So now enter number 5. His last name is Castle, for what it's worth. The 5-1 combo, Area 51, the alien, right? Yeah. So
he's the alien. I'm talking who are the aliens? Essentially, it's the Anunnaki, and they're the fallen angels. And this is becoming mainstream. This was the kicker, which I forgot. I'm so glad I did not.
No, it's good. Yeah, I'm glad.
I want you to guess, so it should be an easy guess, because where was John Denver born?
Where? Roswell, New Mexico.
Okay, let me. You can just look it up. If I don't find it, yeah, I thought I had the graphic. Okay, go to your screen. I go to your screen, because these are just a bunch of notes cobbled together. It's not organized.
Yeah, no worries.
You can take the screen and just look up John Denver. Oh wait, here it is. Sorry.
Oh, you got it.
Roswell, New Mexico. that ties it all in.
God, wow.
So the fallen angels are the Anunnaki. They are the aliens. That's what they're quoting. That the fallen angels are these aliens. It's quoted into Queen Elizabeth knows it. She knows why. The British Empire knows why. The royal family knows. They know. Why did they have her become queen there? That's a sacred mountain to Enki. That's Enki. That's
what's crazy too is, let's go back to the Texas floods for a quick second this year, right? That happened right in the crosshairs of Kerrville, right? Shout out KODI with all of his work during the Texas floods. But Steve Kerr, right, coaching Stephen Curry. Steve Kerr went to the University of Arizona. Shout out to my Wildcats. They're kicking ass to start the season. Big game tomorrow. But my point is he went to the University of Arizona. He used to have, I don't know if it was part ownership or he was like the VP or president of the Suns at a time. But think about the Phoenix Lights. When I think of Arizona and anything alien related, you know the story about the Phoenix Lights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So just another thing to think about. Like Steve Kerr won his championships with Michael Jordan and the Bulls, Sirius, the Dog Star. Then he won his other 2 championships with the Spurs. That's where he won his last championship, was with the Spurs. And KODI, you're going to have to remind me, but you had a really big code about Steve Kerr's last ever game as a Spur and in his career when he won the championship with Ginobili. So just those connections too. This Arizona stuff I've been talking about with the love themes founded on Valentine's Day, but also another big story was the Phoenix Lights. I don't remember what year that was, but it was so bizarre. People were talking about these massive lights hovering over the entire city that what they're saying looked miles and miles long, and it was completely silent. Like nobody could even hear anything. And then the local state government came out and somebody came out in an alien costume making fun of the whole thing. So you got to think there's a connection there too.
How is Steve Kerr connected to the Phoenix Lights?
Well, because he was, he went to the University of Arizona, which is in Tucson, an hour south, but did he not play for the Suns at some point in his career? If not, he was at least like a VP level with the Suns for a time before he became head coach. So he's very, very tied to Arizona is my point. His name and jersey is up in the rafters at the University of Arizona. I think it's pretty interesting too that Bryce James, LeBron's son, is now playing for Arizona. Just kind of a very weird chain of events there, but I'm not trying to reel in too much. But yeah, that's the whole thing with Steve Kerr. He's very heavily tied to the Spurs and very heavily tied to Arizona.
So John Denver, I think the Roswell incident happened in, I think it was 47. So John Denver was born, again, I have more to this, Deco. December 31st is very important. It's the completion of a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And also the home, take me home. Where do you see an extraterrestrial and
E.T. phone
exactly.
home?
Exactly, you're on top of it. Yep.
There you go.
And
with the bike in the cycle. Yep.
Yeah, and what's it? ET. It's do I have that graphic here? Well, that's a cycle symbol because in reverse. Okay, I don't have it here. In reverse, ET is 22/7, which is 22 divided by 7. Oh, here it is. In reverse. Well, Z is 1, Y, and then A is 26.
Well, there you go. But Steve, remember I said Steve Kerr, Stephen Curry. Steph Curry's born on the first originally coined date of Pi Day. He's born on 3/14.
Okay, yeah, more cycle symbolism there, yeah. So yeah, ET is a hidden in reverse. There's a hidden cycle symbol. Yeah, there's so much more to this. Atlantis.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So I have more to this. I still have to finish my my decode on the is a big Nazi tribute of the Berlin Stadium game between the Indianapolis Colts and the Atlanta Falcons. There's so much more to that too. I got to do that. And this, I still have to do the U underdog theme with the mayoral election of Mamdani. So yeah, there's a lot to do, and then something's going to pop up in the middle of all that, which I'll have to stop. And you know how it is.
Well, I was just going to say one thing to re-emphasize now that LeBron's back on court. We're now 4 games away from him getting to that 16-11 with this Robert Parrish stuff. Adam the Illusion, if you're still listening, great work on what you've been doing with that too. I need to get Myron back on. He got game. He's been all over this for quite some time. And we've had a lot of discussions about this. That's what led us to the whole Donnie Darko ritual we saw with LeBron James and that Detroit player wearing number 28. But so just another note you could take, Rambo, if possible, if you have a chance, just kind of take a look at like, okay, if LeBron plays the next 4 games, like, okay, what date would that be? Who are they playing? Like, I don't know. Got it. Just more to think about there. So
what's the mark there? 1160.
Well, so hey, Cody, without me going back, there's 2 numbers we're looking out for. 1566, because the King James Bible, right, was well, no. I don't want to misspeak here. 1611, because Robert Parrish. Sorry, go ahead, Cody. I'll let you take this one.
So the 1566 is obviously coming up first. That's King James' birth year. The Golden Gate Bridge took 1566 days to build, and Kobe Bryant played 1566 total games. So it's already a huge number connected. And shout out to Gematria Book. He's got a YouTube channel and Instagram. He's the one that really pioneered all that info with that 1566. But that number is huge in many ways. But that will be the next game we're looking for with him. How many games is he on right now, AJ, again?
Well, if you include his game today, let me just pull it up right now. We'll do this real time as we close out. How many games has LeBron James played? Don't do this now. LeBron James played all time. We'll just do including playoffs really quick. Might as well share my screen here too. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I will get better at quickly changing screens when I can. Okay, so he's at 1854, including playoffs. When you take that out, it's going to just show the regular season. So he's 4 games now away from that 1560.
Well, is that 1562? Is that added to tonight's game, or is he already?
I'm pretty sure it is, because we were talking about how he was 5 games away, but I'll double check. So once again, we just got to keep an eye on this. This might not be updated.
So if he plays straight through, what game are we looking at for him to land on this then?
Well, I would say just look at the next 4 games.
Well, I was just going to say, I thought you had the schedule up. I could pull it up though. Hold on.
It's hard for me to navigate between different screens and different tabs. So, I mean,
I'll share my screen. I got it up already. So
yeah, you're a lot quicker. You're quicker with this than I am.
Is the game over? No, it's not over. I was going to say, if the game's over, they have 135 right now, and like Kobe Bryant equals 113, Kobe Bean Bryant equals 135. Look at that.
Perfect.
But anyway, So the Jazz on the 23rd, that would be, well, we don't know for sure. This is 15-6. I don't think that's added yet, is it? Because the game's not even over. So
the leading scorer for the Jazz right now, his name is K. George. Kind of like King George.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot of king, like British monarch symbolism. King James, King Charles, King Henry's in the NFL. No,
So-
I'm sorry, not King. Yeah, is it Henry? What's it? The running back for the Ravens. Henry. Yeah, it's
Henry.
King Henry.
Yeah.
King Henry. Yeah.
But yeah, so anyways, Cody, so to our point, so I'll say this: StatMuse is not updated yet, just based off of my experience. So he's sitting
so
he'll be at
today is
1563.
1562 or today's 1563. Tomorrow, the 23rd is 1564, 1565. So it's going to be against the Mavericks. It's going to be against the Mavericks.
That's kind of fitting for a lot of reasons.
Well, it's on 11/28. 11/28 is the 47 triangular number. How about that?
Yeah, Adam, the Lakers riddle was very easy today. They smashed them. I mean, they improved to 11-4. LeBron James equals 114. Lakers equals 42. They improved to 4-2. The problem is when it comes to, the betting side of things, you take a money line, they're minus 700. So if you want to win $1, you got to bet 7.
You were better off betting plus 17 on.
Yeah, well, no, exactly. There you go. And you take Hutton, put that same dollar down, and there you go. But yeah, so in other words, if LeBron plays every game now moving forward, we're going to land on what date is that? Sorry, it's a little tiny.
November 28th. So
28th. Okay, we're back
November
at that
28th. That's the 11/28 again is the 47th triangular number. So there's your 47.
Ohio 47. Okay.
Well, no, get this. We're in the 47th week of the year. This is a huge week this week. We're in the 47th week of the year. It's always good to. It's something that we don't do enough in this community. But Waters Above Crypto, he's always making sure people know what week of the year we're in, because it is important. But this is an important week because this is the 47th week of the year in Trump's 47th president term. So, and if that's when he does it, it's going to be all about 47 because or like you said, Trump equals 47. LeBron's from Ohio, which equals 47. The 17th state. Why do you think all this 17 stuff is going on right now?
Isn't LeBron currently 4-6 in NBA Finals? I think he is, because there was a big thing about when King Charles was being inaugurated, right? Back in 2023, there was a lot of thoughts that the Lakers, LeBron could get to that 5-6 where King James and King Charles.
Adam says right? Yes. Adam says yes, he is 4-6.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is going to be about 47 then. And how would that tie to the King James thing? I'm not sure, but I mean, there's other things we can look at too. The Mavericks, I'm
just thinking of the whole story with Luka, right? Luka means light. Luka is also connected with luck. We talked about the St. Patty's Day stuff. That my book They're After Me, all about the Lucky Charms connections. Like there was a lot of that. And then it's arguably the worst trade of all time for Luka to go to the Lakers. So to me, like that whole symbolism kind of makes a lot of sense if this is the day that happens.
So what I'm wondering is, this is not an NBA regular season game.
Yeah, because this is group stage, it's the NBA Cup.
So does the total number of games, does that include NBA Cup, which wasn't a factor until recently?
I should know this. I'm pretty sure though, like they bake it in, like it does count towards their record. Please, if I'm being wrong, chat, rip me apart right now. Maybe I'm wrong. That's a great question that Rambo's asking, because I mean, at the end of the day, right, I think to Adam's point, like the stats count, so it's still another game played in his career, right? Like they're still going to include it. They're not going to just not include it,
because they don't include the playoff games in his 1566. They don't include the playoffs. Remember, you looked at the total?
Okay. So he says only the final does not count. So I'm assuming like when you get to the NBA Cup championship game, that's maybe the one extra game.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here.
I mean, NBA Cup thing is stupid, if you ask me. Never.
The Lakers won it last year, and people are joking that here's another BS championship for LeBron. But besides the point.
Yeah. So what they're trying to do is imitate the soccer tradition, football soccer tradition. I told you how the oldest soccer football competition is the English FA Cup. It's a domestic cup. Every country has a domestic, and what they're trying to do, it's not an American tradition, so it's hard to just introduce in 2025 a new tradition. It's just not I don't know if people will ever really embrace it. It's they're getting it from international football / soccer.
And you got to think that Robert Francis Prevost is heavily involved in whenever this game happens, when LeBron hits that 16-11, because he's going to match Robert Parrish, right? If anything, I should have brushed up on this before I started speaking about it, but no, you're good, Rambo. I was just saying, like, Robert Parrish, that's the next big thing as far as total number of games played, where he's going to match that and then surpass it to then go on to that 16-11. But Robert Parrish, Robert Francis Prevost, Robert connected to the church, Parrish connected to the church. The obvious stuff. We had Charlie Kirk means church, all this stuff happening all at the same time. LeBron James comes back against who? Utah. I think that's a big one. Kobe Bryant had his last ever game against Utah. We're in the year of the snake. Orem, Utah is a stem off of snake. Anyways. So I'll just say my piece in closing out, unless there's anything else that you guys really wanted to dive into here. We are flirting with that 3-hour mark. So I do want to just kind of be mindful and then remind everybody one more time, we will start streaming 1 hour earlier every Tuesday starting next week.
Yeah. I'm just looking at this matchup. It does kind of tie into what I was talking about as far as the Neptune / Enki symbolism, Neptune and Poseidon being the patron of horses.
Mm-hmm.
And Enki, the original archetype, being one of the fallen angels. So the angels and the Neptune symbolism is there, and so Neptune is the zodiac sign that is ruled by Neptune. So is Pisces. Pisces has two rulers, Neptune and Jupiter. You can see the yin yang duality there in the two ruling planets of Pisces. Well, Luka Doncic is Pisces, so he kind of fits. Just looking at some of the symbolism there, it ties into what I've been talking about.
Yeah, so to clarify, once again, really quick, you guys. So he's 4 games away now from that. Oh my God. 1566. Okay, so he's on the doorstep of that one, and then he's also currently 49 days away from that 16-11, or 49 games, excuse me. So it's pretty likely he's going to hit both of those numbers this year. Right, we talked about, hey, depending on how many games he misses, right. Well, we'll see. I mean, they might sit him the next 4 games for all we know. We just got to keep an eye on it. Yeah, and shout out Joseph and Mr. S, kind of just thrown in here about Epstein, all that news about the files now being released today of all days. Jeffrey Edward Epstein equals 322. Today is the 322nd day of the year.
So Jeffrey Epstein did identify with Neptune and Enki. He literally, on Epstein Island, there was a statue of Enki and a statue of Neptune. There were 2 statues. There were statues of the Sumerian Enki and a statue of the Roman Neptune. So he actually was coded. So some of these elites, they will pick. He decided like Enki was his thing. I don't know why, but he picked Enki. He even had a trident. He had a private plane with a trident on it. And who's Enki? I mean, so Neptune is the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man tarot card represents the planet Neptune, and that's why they say he committed suicide. But they say he had a failed suicide attempt on the 23rd of July before his. No one really believes he committed suicide, but they said there was a failed attempt before, and he had attempted it on the 23rd of July. Well, the 23rd of July is Neptunalia. It's the annual Roman day to celebrate Neptune.
Did you mention that Epstein grew up on Neptune Avenue? If not, I just want to make sure.
No. Mr. S.
Mr. S said, yeah, Epstein grew up on Neptune Avenue.
But yeah, so that's why I started talking about all the other Neptune symbolism that's encoded in this guy. He literally on Epstein Island had 2 statues, one of the Roman Neptune god and another of the original archetype Enki, like a Sumerian god. He actually had that on Epstein Island. And that's the hangman. The Neptune is the hangman. So they say he attempted suicide on Neptunalia, which they don't call it Neptunalia. They just say it's July 23rd, but that's Neptunalia. I don't know why he's quoted with Neptune like that, but he is. But I didn't know about the Neptune Island. I mean, sorry, Neptune Avenue. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, that's.
I know that.
Wow.
Snake Eyes takes place in Neptune City, New Jersey.
Oh yeah. Oh, there you
and
go.
The lead character, played by Nicolas Cage, went to Neptune High School, which is a real high school.
Oh my God!
They even show his high school ring, his high school graduation ring from Neptune City High School.
Mike from Michigan says one of the moons on Neptune is Triton. I wouldn't know anything about that, but it's interesting.
I guess has the tri in it, the 3, like the trident.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure why Epstein was so into Neptune like that. Enki even goes to the original archetype Enki. And
I've said this before, but I just want to mention this because the Epstein thing is actually about a virus. People don't understand what all this Epstein stuff is really about. There's a virus that almost every human being has right now that actually causes more of the diseases, and it's proven. It's called Epstein-Barr virus. And the reason he's in the news is because I think they're telling you in a backhanded way that Epstein was behind bars. The virus is literally called Epstein-Barr, and this is a virus that causes cancer. It literally causes it once it's in your body. It feeds off heavy metals, which they spray us with anyways, and then it creates these diseases. Look it up, Epstein-Barr. The guy that brought this to my attention, he's like a pretty famous.
You have the screen, brother. If you want to pull it up.
Oh yeah, so that's what I believe. Really, this is all about. Everyone keeps talking about Epstein. This is just some dude, but this is what I believe they're telling us with this, and this is what probably caused the so-called COVID. It's a herpes virus, but just read about it. It has see if I could find the part. It is uncommonly causes infectious mononucleosis and also linked to many malignant diseases, cancers, and autoimmune diseases. So the guy who I would recommend looking up for this, his name is Anthony William, and he has pioneered the fact that we need to change our diets because everything we eat is feeding this virus, and it's in almost every human at this point. If just look up the symptoms of it, or just look up Anthony William. He has a protocol, to get rid of it, but it's. I'm telling you, this is what this Epstein is about. They're telling you that this is the virus that's it's causing your cancers, it's causing your autoimmune. So many people have autoimmune diseases, and when you get sprayed with heavy metals, and then the virus feeds on these heavy metals, it causes mental issues, sleep, causes problems in your brain. That's why they spray the heavy metals. That's why everything we are, and that on top of everything else, you got microplastics everywhere, and you got chemicals and heavy metals, and that's why I do recommend eating things like cilantro, which helps you detox heavy metals. But I noticed this right away when I noticed that, and I've never really cared to even look into this Epstein guy. I hate the whole story in general. I'm so tired of it. But as soon as I realized about this thing, I was like, well, what is the chance? Epstein-Barr, right? Epstein died behind bars. Think about it. Supposedly he died behind bars. So there's a backhanded way of saying, look more into this, I believe. And I haven't done enough looking into this, and look at the gematria of this. This is also why I know this is interesting. Look at the gematria of Epstein-Barr virus.
Yeah, don't forget that Epstein Island is called Little Saint James. Right.
Yeah, and look, 216 forward and backwards. Now what's that? That's 666. Coincidence? No, I don't think so.
Well, and we know what vaccination equals.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean is
Yeah.
This is coded with the 666 and the 81. You know, Kobe Bryant scored 666 in his 81st game. So like, and the 108 of course is a huge number. This is actually Elvis Aaron Presley equals 216. I think
it goes
it's
back
tied
to the L thing too. I don't know if you guys saw that in the comments. But
well, yeah, but he was the first person to be vaccinated. Elvis was the first person to be vaccinated on live TV. So he's directly tied to this Epstein-Barr.
And don't forget when Biden was vaccinated on live TV at 322. You guys remember that, right? On CNN.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And look at the other gematria. So his name, Elvis Aaron Presley, equals 216 in the same cipher, right? And 81. And what's Elvis's birthday? It's 8-1 or 1-8, right? So if you look at Epstein-Barr virus, if you wrote Elvis's birthday, you can write it 1 January, and sometimes you see it right in 08, right? So there's his birthday. If you write it in internationally, it's 8-1. So this is like Elvis, man. Like I'm telling you, that's why Elvis isn't everywhere. Like that song I showed you guys last week. And then again, shout out to Jurassic Liars for pioneering the Elvis info for years, but Epstein-Barr equals Elvis Aaron Presley. And 9 times 9 is 81. He's got the 99 there. This 243 is also Central Intelligence Agency. So you like, and this.
And speaking of this virus stuff, right? There's a lot of people that think that there's another one coming at some point. Don't forget about the whole monkeypox thing that was kind of in the news for a little bit. I say that because of what Rambo was talking about tonight with King Kong and Enki and Monkey and just kind of everything falling to the ground like everything did in 2020, for example. Right?
Enki was a geneticist too.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a Hills realm. Yeah, a bioengineer.
Yeah.
And another thing to mention here, I had found an absolutely mind-bending decode, which I can't remember off the top of my head, but Elvis is connected to a 2001: A Space Odyssey in Germany in such a way that it's mind-blowing. I remember finding it and how mind-blowing it is, but I never shared it. I don't know why, I just never shared it, but Elvis's only military campaign was in Germany, right? So this goes back to what we've been talking about. But I'll need to pull that up and I'll show you guys that maybe next week or something. But there's a measurement with the release date of the 2001: A Space Odyssey in West Germany and how it lines up with Elvis is absolutely mind-bending. I just can't remember fully the details of it, but I know I found something that was just like, and I think it has something to do with this 1656. So notice the 1656 there. It's literally like just a rearrangement of 1566. So there's something with that.
Adam's asking really quick too. You can always hit him up offline, but he was just saying that he's briefly covered Epstein-Barr and he was going to do a follow-up stream on that soon. So if you plan on doing one, maybe you guys can collab on that. That would be cool.
Yeah, well, I need to do one anyway, so I'll probably just do one with him on it.
Yeah.
I don't know when, but I'll get a hold of him. I was supposed to get a hold of Adam anyways and do a stream with him soon anyway. So I'll get a hold of you for sure, Adam.
Cool.
And but yeah, I'm glad he sees it too, because that's just the first thing I saw. Like, I don't know how more obvious it can be. Like his name, he died. Like, I don't know. Apparently it's named after the two people that found it, right? But I mean, the Epstein case is just too perfect. So
I'm going to kind of close it here and really start landing the ship. But I think one final closing comment I wanted to share here, which I have pinned, and then also share my screen. There we go. So viruses are allegedly made from dead twin embryos. Okay, I'm no scientist, so yeah, this is all new for me. Elvis meaning twin, right? We've talked about Tom means twin, Tom Brady, his connections with 9/11 and the Twin Towers, etc. the last thing we did briefly talk about offline was this was also recently in the news.
Oh, we didn't even cover this today.
Well, yeah, I'm saying maybe this is something when we have a little more time to dive further into it. It's a very bizarre story that Alice in Wonderland and Ellen Kessler, they were big legendary entertainment icons. Twin sisters both die on the same day. Don't know enough about it yet, but don't forget that you had the statue of Tom Brady go up on his birthday this year. So things to think about. Oh yeah, Ellen, good one. That's a good one.
In fact, Ellen has like an L and then an L backwards, so it's like double L. It's kind
of like Alice.
It's like
kind of like Al and L. Yeah, Al.
Bro, the word Ellen is like twin L's. Look at the word.
Oh yeah,
it's like an EL. Yeah. They're like facing each other. Two ELs facing each other.
They just like twins. Just like how
that's what I mean.
Yeah. Wow. And then the whole Alice in Wonderland thing. I mean, that truly. That's crazy.
Yeah, and Alice Kessler equals 119.
Of course it does. Like, I mean, come on.
In fact,
one died and the other twin died out of heartbreak. Like, is that going to be the story? I haven't even read into it much yet, but as soon as I saw this, I thought of you guys. I thought we would bring it up briefly.
In fact, Alice Kessler equals the name of the guy who scored that goal for me tonight in the same cipher. And the guy's 119 days old today. like to go with his gematria is 119. And then she dies today, apparently, or yesterday, whatever, on John Cena's day. This is all about John Cena, but yeah, it's crazy that she has the same gematria 119 as this Hutton.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more to this. You know, as far as I'm concerned, these two could be tied into what you were pointing out last week, Cody, with that whole 80. What was it again? That whole documentary about Tom Brady, 80 for Brady.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know, but let's close it out, you guys. Once again, happy 322 day to everybody. Congrats to the winners, and congrats to you, Cody, of all people, man. Sounds like you were the winner of the night with those 17s. Everything that you had on Hutton tonight was unbelievable, and I'm so glad to see it happen real time. Like Rambo said, it was cool to see that happen real time.
I just want to make it clear, because I saw people arguing about it in the chat. I'm not going to be a gambler, guys. I haven't really gambled up until this point ever. If anything, I have proof that the code is being used, and I proved it tonight. And I don't even need to. I'm going to walk away with my $1,000 and use it on stuff I need, because that was my whole point to begin with. I don't need any more than that. I live simple, guys. You guys think I'm out to be rich? No, I just need food. I just need money for food so I can continue to do what I do here with you guys and not have to go get a job. So like, I don't want to be rich. I just want to be able to continue to do this every day. So if making $1,000 in one night off of a gamble can help me do that for a couple months, then hey, I mean, and I'm going to take the money and walk at this point, because what else do I need to do? I mean, eat. That's all I want. That's all I do in life anyways. You guys know what I do all day? I eat, I take care of my body, and I decode for you guys. That's what I do. So that's I like spreading the truth. That's what and this code that I did tonight will hopefully help that, if anything. So
absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's those types of codes don't come by every day, especially with how intricate and how special it was. Seriously, like it is not every day that this dude is on the ice, let alone getting the puck in his stick.
He doesn't even play every game with the team, and it's been 609 days since he scored a goal, guys.
Exactly.
609 days, and I pegged the night that he did after 609 days. Yep. It's just like, still can't believe it. But yeah, that's it for that. That's all I got to say for that. I just wanted to clear up some of what people were saying in the chat about arguing about if it's right or wrong. It doesn't, to me, it's more about the code coming through like it did. That's what I'm more interested in.
Yeah, definitely. And just as a final reminder, Cody, I know this is the first time, at least in the last couple of weeks, we haven't been able to get you streamed over on your channel. But for anybody who might not be familiar with you and your work, where they can find you, especially with what you shared tonight, if you can just remind everybody where they can find you and subscribe.
Yeah, you can find me as on the screen there, Decoding with Cody. I have 15.3K, which is the 17th try. And today is 153 days after my birthday, guys. So I'm organically tied into this. How about that?
My birthday's 15/3.
Right. And I'm talking to the guy whose birthday is that day. Wow, that's crazy. And I'm in Ohio, the 17th state. And that's the sports book I used to bet is the Ohio sports book. It's even coded into me. This is organic. That's organic, right? It was 153 days before the guy's birthday and 153 days after my birthday. I'm born on the 170th day of the year, guys. In Ohio.
LeBron, Mr. Ohio, the 17th
and LeBron returns tonight from Ohio, the 17th state. Like, this is organic. This is more than just men doing this, too. This is way bigger than we think.
Shout out, Sean, widow's son. Love you, brother.
That's all I got to say. 17. The never seen 17, like Cena.
Yep. There you go. I love it. Hey, Rambo, close us out, my brother. Thank you again, Cody, for everything. Thank you to everybody in the chat tonight. What another blast. Final reminder, if you haven't looked at the ticker below, moving forward, we are going to start an hour earlier, moving forward every Tuesday. Rambo, please. Any final thoughts? Anything else that we can look forward to this week?
No, I'd just like to thank you again for putting this together on your channel. You're the one who's brought us all together, and for your contributions and for Cody's contributions. So this is a pretty legendary live stream with Cody's with his decode. I think that was a very unique experience. And thanks, Cody, for sharing that. And this is what I'll be working on, the decode that I just showed, were my notes on that. And thanks for what you've contributed to that. You contributed a lot to that decode that I did with the South Park's episode, and so I didn't know about that. I didn't even know about 6-7 until you told me, and all the other connections there. So, man, this looks like that's going to be a pretty long decode. There's a lot connected to that, to the whole roads thing, and I'll be working on that, and I will be finishing the decode on the Nazi tribute on 119 at the Olympia Stadion in Berlin. The whole Berlin code in the context of what's been going on in the world. And the underdog theme, especially with the election of Zoran Mamdani. And that's a big underdog theme. So those, I'd say, are the three things I'll be working on. Well, thanks again. And again, thanks for putting that up there. Patreon.com/thetruthcodes is one tier, and Instagram.
We appreciate you as always, Rambo. Seriously. As I always say, I'm a broken record at this point. Favorite night of the week. I can't believe we're getting close to 30 episodes now at this point. I think I've been counting since Cody has joined us. I know, Rambo, you and I did, our own thing for like a month or two. Shout out to Sean, really, for connecting me with Cody in the very beginning. So it's just really cool to see us three grow together, the community grow together. Thank you, Adam, for... Adam the Illusion, you guys, please make sure to go follow and subscribe to Adam the Illusion. His link is below right here. Love you too, brother. And that's what this is all about, right? Coming together, building on each other's findings, helping each other grow. In a world that seems to be chaotic, let's get together and put our heads together. So without further ado, we'll close it out there. And really appreciate you all. Final reminder, I know I said it 6 times. We're going to start an hour earlier next week, okay? So wherever you guys are at time zone-wise, just move it back on your calendar, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next one. Until next time. Peace, ballers.
See ya.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
Let me tell you about this one time. I went through a porthole and snuck into the North Pole and got picked up in a Hyperborean DeLorean. They said they knew I was a Webster Merriam historian, master the numerical Gregorian, the hysterical mystic, no more than a Pythagorean's conspiracy theory Ethereum in the etheric fear realm. I thought they were gonna take me to the crematorium in their Hyperborean DeLorean. Tested me on my Sumerian, Shakespearean, knew I was a numerical vegetarian Aquarian, that I knew about the Tartarians, barbarians, Mars radium, aliens. Salt of the earth, solution Selenian. Spent the night in a Hyperborean chamber. I looked around and thought, bruv, who hired the painter? Hyperborean memoriam, auditorium, all cause I got picked up in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Introducing